And it could actually be a
Right.
really interesting product to allow founders to raise really quickly, right? Like today, going through MetaDAO was not that different than raising from VCs because you've got to convince me and Colin that your business, and we have an investment committee, that your business is interesting and like worth funding. But here, you just have to convince the market, and so you could raise money in like a few hours if you wanted to, and just start building, which is really cool, and I think something that you can't really do in venture capital today. And so, yeah, that's the kind of thesis, and yeah, we went live today.
Have you seen any feedback around people choosing this route over venture capital? Because, like you said, I mean, these people have raised some people on your platform have raised significant money that would otherwise be very difficult to raise through venture capital. I don't know, what's the feedback looking like?
So I don't think that the products we've raised through the curated path, it would be like, I mean, some of them, most of them, I would say they could raise venture capital. They might be able to raise less, or it might take longer. And yeah, I think the positive feedback is, yeah, it's nice to be able to raise more. I think the biggest benefit today to founders has been like you can accelerate your business because you now have your users aligned with you, right? Who have like a stake in your success. And but it's not a free lunch. I think, yeah, like all these founders are now learning what it means to have a liquid token and what it means to have like people shitting on you in your Telegram and whatnot when the token goes down. That's just part of being in the arena. And then MetaDAO also has some like specific things around buybacks and liquidations. And so, yeah, it's not a free lunch, but I think to someone who like really wants to just accelerate their growth and to go really fast, especially someone who's crypto native, like I think those people have given us really positive feedback. Like if you take Umbra, for example, like Umbra, great team. I really like Crew. He's like the best designer ever. Like every time I look at those Umbra tweets, I'm like, oh my god, this is beautiful.
True rocks.
And I think having a token has just allowed them to be more relevant. Like I'm sure they'd be relevant otherwise, but now like if you have all these people that have a stake in the thing and want to succeed, it just like helps because there's also a bunch of other privacy projects. But it feels like Umbra is kind of becoming the most relevant one. And I think a token is a part of that.
I guess the question I had too was, like, have you seen any demand from maybe founders that have been thinking about launching but haven't really found a model or a platform or a launch pad that works with what they or how they want it to launch? Like, what's the BD side looking like for Futardio, or are you just kind of letting this just organically reach new founders?
Yeah. We do some outreach with the people in our pipeline, where we're like, the people who would not want to raise as much and that we might be interested in, but just like we think there are some risks with their business that we'd like to get addressed. But it's like with Futardio, yeah, it's kind of buyer beware. Like people should be aware of the risks that they have when they're participating in these. And yeah, but I would say the main thing is just like letting it organically happen. And I mean, it's pretty freaking awesome to me that now a founder can just click a few buttons and like potentially, I mean, obviously we got to prove out the demand side as well, but like potentially just like raise enough money, maybe that's like 500K or a few 100K in a few hours and just start hitting the ground running.
How are you
Awesome.
thinking about these raises? Are you thinking about micro raises? For example, smaller 100K rounds, or is everything you're shooting for going to be 1 million plus?
For Futardio, definitely micro raises. I mean, I believe we only allow between 50K and 500K.
Okay.
And so, yeah, and YC is 500K, and that's like a pretty small check for like a venture round. And yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Like, I think a 50K raise, there's a case where I don't know, there's like a founder in not in the Western world who just needs 50K of tokens to go like of AI tokens to go build his business, and like doesn't have 50K lying around, and like this is going to be the accelerator for that.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely the way to go, especially in this market. It's been so difficult. Josh has a great question in the comments here. He goes, MetaDAO was the hottest thing in crypto during a VG last year. How does MetaDAO recapture, I guess, Futardio in this case, recapture some of the magic in this new market? To add to that too, can you just tell us a little bit how you think the market's changed since you guys really originally started launching things like Avicii and some of the earlier projects?
Yeah. So I think, I mean, I've been in crypto for a while, and so these narratives kind of always come and go. I feel like, I mean, how many cycles of narratives has Pump gone through? Like so many. I mean, Pump has died so many times, but it
Right.
still lives.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been the one thing. Like, I think that's also when we were looking at Futardio, it's like, okay, this market for these bigger ICOs is kind of dried up in a sense. Like, I don't think I really understood to what extent the people who were aping MetaDAO ICOs were just aping all the other ICOs, who then got burned on all the other platforms because they all like were down a ton. But now Pump Fund remains, and so like, okay, I can't do an $8 million raise anymore potentially, so like let's do a 200K raise. Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately what's going to drive people back to the platform is financial returns, and so like the goal is to increase the expected value of participating in these projects on MetaDAO.
A follow-up question to that from Josh as well is some of your thought here to disrupt early stage funnels or something like a YC that is known for their small 500K checks, very, very early stage?
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to compete. I'd rather go against like for a market that isn't served today. Which yeah, like with YC, you still got to apply. You still got to like run through the whole rigmarole. And they still, I think, are biased towards founders that like look and talk a certain way, kind of maybe how I talk. Like I think I've got the tism that a lot of investors like to
You
see.
love it.
But yeah, but that are not necessarily like that don't necessarily make someone likely to win. And yeah, so potentially, but like I'm trying to go after new markets.
I love that. You've already got a few people that have committed to launching here. And I had it pulled up a second ago. What are the types of people you're seeing most interest from?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, yeah, it's projects that need less money to just and then like um to go execute. I think that's the main thing, and just crypto native stuff.
One question that I had was, you've been in crypto for a while, so you've seen the evolution of tokens, right? Like tokens of the past, that really don't give it the token holders anything, no ownership of the business, no upside, to now kind of utility tokens that try to do things like buybacks and stuff like that. I saw you wrote an article about buybacks as well, and I want to get into your thoughts on that part before the interview is over. But for this one specifically, like where do you see Futardio kind of leading the next generation of tokens? Let's call it. I mean, we've been trying to figure this thing out about how to give tokens value. How do you think that the Futardio platform does that?
Yeah, can I actually just talk about buybacks quickly? Because I think I
Yes,
have a
please,
take. Okay,
please. I,
cool.
I really want to get your take on that.
Yeah, so lots of people in on crypto Twitter have had big takes on buybacks, and I basically think that they're all kind of wrong. I mean, I would put people in kind of two camps. One is like buybacks good, and that without buybacks, you can't really trust that the team is going to align the token with the business, and it just makes sense. Like these are tokens. The goal is to make money, so return some of that money to the token holders. Hyperliquid, Pump Fun, like these are the great case studies. And then there's another camp which is like, no, buybacks are stupid. You should just be reinvesting in the business. Like these are all startups. Maybe Hyperliquid should go spend $800 million on marketing instead. And I think that like I understand why both of these people have their these takes, but also just like we don't really like you can just understand the basics of finance and how it works, and you can very easily see like buybacks basically can make sense irrespective of stage, just depending on price, right? Like when we're trading, our goal is to buy low and sell high. Buybacks are just trading, and so again, it's all going to depend. And like pretty much any asset, it can make sense to buy or sell depending on the price. And so with buybacks, again, it like just completely depends on the price. So I think I have an example in my article about, yeah, say you have a project that or like a company that is worth $10 million, and if it can buy back its stock at like a $5 million market cap, then you accrete value to all the remaining people who hold, and you allow some people to exit. Uh, Meanwhile, what you've had in crypto is mostly like people thinking bass backwards and saying, "Hey, we're going to do buybacks when the market rewards them, like when the market is strong." And like buybacks happen in bull markets, and then you're getting the worst trade execution, so you have the least accretion. You're just like that's when you're kind of throwing away money. And yeah, I think it's kind of silly. Like when teams are like, "Hey, the market is showing that it doesn't care about buybacks, like it's not pumping the token." When you're buying a token, you don't want to pump the token. Like you want to get the best execution price. I think Pump Fun, like I have this idea that Pump Fun may actually like really know what they're doing. Of just like they're just buying a bunch right now when the price is low, and not really like pumping the token a ton. And then yeah, they can get a lot out of supply and like accrete value to the rest of the holders.
So when someone thinks about buybacks, Josh had a really good question. I was thinking the same. Is it buybacks for OTC, for marketing? Is it a buyback and burn? Like, what about that side of the equation? What are you using buying the tokens for?
Yeah, buyback and burn is like how I think about it. I think buying back tokens to then allocate those tokens to somewhere else is silly because at least on MetaDAO we have mintable tokens anyway, and so it's just like a status quo. That's just like what is the term? It's like a bias or it's irrational to say like we're going to buy back tokens to allocate them when these are two separate things, like whether to allocate and whether to buy back. Just like a psychological thing. So yeah.
Fascinating. Crypto Jones had a question here. Have you considered bringing all these great products in the MetaDAO eco under one umbrella, a MetaDAO app where we can easily access all these financial tools and participate on the Futarki system?
Yeah, we originally were thinking of doing this like accelerated or permissionless path within MetaDAO's main app, and we decided against it for a bunch of reasons. But yeah, basically we've considered it, and if this is a smashing success, then we could still potentially do that, and integrate everything.
Can I ask one more question on buybacks here? At
Yeah.
what point does it get dangerous when a token's trading how much below the net asset value before it gets dangerous that people are going to start, or traders sort of form this coup, if you will, where they buy supply, raise a vote to liquidate the treasury so they can get the little bit of arbitrage margins? At what point does it get dangerous when a token goes below NAV?
Yeah, I think we're finding that out as we go. I mean, Solomon right now is trading at a pretty substantial discount to NAV. I haven't really heard people that want to like. I think most people who hold Solomon want to do some buybacks, but they don't want to liquidate the treasury. And we've talked before about like the rules we have of like when someone can buy back versus liquidation. Yeah, so I guess I don't know is the real answer. Like we'll figure it out as we go.
Do you find that maybe like would it be a good idea to or thought to consider to maybe say you have to hold for this long before you can, just raise a vote or raise create a market on whether to liquidate? Like, is that a thought that's going through you guys' head?
I've never thought about that particularly, but we are thinking a ton about like how do we make it harder, or like really what we want to solve is we want to make founders more certain over their runway. And actually, I think there's other better ways to solve that. The number one is bringing in more sticky capital to the ecosystem. So me and my co-founders spend a ton of time pitching ownership coins to liquid funds, because I think they are more sticky capital than like the median retail trader, who is kind of just like buying high, selling low, like buying when prices gone up, selling when prices gone down, so that we have less of this. But yeah, like I'm essentially, yeah.
And how have those conversations been going? I know at one point, I'm not sure if it was Pantera or if it was Six Man Ventures, but you guys had a VC that you guys basically bought MetaDAO on an open market, and I saw that there was a proposal about that at some point. So there is some appetite there for ownership tokens. How have those conversations been going with those VCs?
Yeah, I mean, most of them that we talk to are like, "Oh wow, this is really interesting. I've been meaning to take a look at this. I just haven't yet." And so overall, good. I mean, right now there's already like 5 liquid funds and VCs that are pretty active, I'd say. I mean, all of the ownership coins that I'm aware of have at least one liquid fund or venture owner. But I want to enlarge that. I want to increase that number from like 5 to 30. Yeah, it seems like we're on the path to get there.
Nice. What's the biggest part of moving that needle? Is it just kind of just reaching out, meetings, in chats with them, or is there something else that's that you guys are doing?
No, it is, yeah, literally that. Just like hopping on Zoom with people and explaining to them how the system works and why you should be bullish.
That's awesome. I know Dom.
We saw, a question about this Pine Analytics article. They do great work, by the way. So I'm glad to see that they came out with an article for you guys. But can you maybe walk us through some high level, the Q4 2025 quarterly report that was just put out here by Pine Analytics? Have you had a chance to read into this?
I actually haven't had the chance to read it yet. No.
Oh, okay. Well then, I mean, we can skim through it real quick, but I guess you have nothing to say on it. Have you? I guess in general, how have you seen this quarter play out in terms of how you expected it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an inflection point for MetaDAO. I don't think we made money before Q4 2025. So yeah, I mean, and it was the time when a lot of people started finding out about MetaDAO. Yeah, and now we just gotta like go faster. I think when we originally kind of like popped off, so to speak, or like people started finding out about MetaDAO, it was great and stressful because then it made the stakes higher, which I think is why it took us longer than I wanted to ship Futardio, like to ship for permissionless. And now we're just saying like, now I think we take the approach of like, that's why we're sandboxing Futardio and like a separate thing so that we can just experiment and go fast without having one potential failure, like bringing down the whole system.
I know you guys are mainly focused on the permissionless side right now. How are you guys thinking about curated? I remember reading a tweet from yours at one point that said like you had spoke with a team that you really wanted to work with, that you were really bullish on, just the founder themselves, maybe not talking about the token, but just saying how you were really excited about that team. Any other curated projects coming up?
Yes, we are still focused on curated. We just now have a different process where like we send teams to, we kind of like run a book process where we send teams to liquid funds first and get their sense of demand before we take them to market. But yes, that is still going on.
One thing I love about you, Prophet, is you're very, I think, self-reflective, and you do a really good job of reflecting, and you're very humble in terms of like seeing what needs to be fixed. What are some of your takeaways from the HeroPay launch recently, or the HeroPay raise recently? Curious to know what you learned from that and maybe how you think about it.
Sure. So yeah, HeroPay didn't raise what I thought they'd raise, and that's and I think HeroPay is like a really solid team, and they should have raised basically. And so my analysis is that it was kind of a perfect storm of some things that were unrelated to MetaDAO and some things that were related to MetaDAO. So number one was like, it really was probably the worst time to do this in like the last few years. In in terms of sentiment and in terms of price action on like Bitcoin, and more importantly, alts. Like if you look at a lot of alts of just like these DeFi projects, they're down like 90% just over the last few months. Like if you look at like the Radium chart, for example. And yeah, so that's one thing. The other thing is just like ICOs in particular have gotten smoked. And yeah, I think I said earlier, like people who I don't think I fully understood the extent to which people participating on MetaDAO were just kind of participating in a broader ICO meta. And returns on all the platforms other than MetaDAO, I believe, have been minus EV, as in like for every dollar you put in, you get less than $1 of tokens. Like to now on MetaDAO, it's still been positive, which is kind of cool despite the huge correction. And then I think it was MetaDAO related stuff. So just like, I don't think I fully understood the extent to which recent raises and their performance, like whether people see the recent stuff doing well, that decides whether or not they participate, and like how much hype there is around the ecosystem. And I also think that there were some people who were unsure of ownership coin protection. So we had to block 2 proposals, which like you can read through why we had to do those. And I think it's like really reasonable. It wasn't like we were really rugging anyone, but I operate in crypto, and most teams in crypto, like there have been so many rugs that they can't just take my word for that. And I think it's totally reasonable for people to be like, oh, these guys might be rugging. I don't want to participate in the next thing because I don't know what protections I've got here. Like there are some people that would have thought like, oh, we're just like not going to honor these proposal system and just let the team walk away with it.
Are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal, and when they got back, there was only.
But why?
22 million in 3 fucking hours! There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not.
He would neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's right.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
Josh.
We are live. Not much. Market's bouncing. If I remember correct, Chill was short. You were long.
That's right. Market is bouncing. I'm actually not in a long position yet, but man, I guess I'll walk through. We might as well just jump right into it. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling a little bit better from my oh dude, look, Lex in here. What's up? What's up, Lex? Feeling a little
Lex,
little
what's
better,
up,
but
buddy?
little stuffy. So if I sound weird, that's why.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Linkin Park, you know, we have it. It's that their Meteor album. So that's a little cap tip to our sponsor Meteor, and plus, you know, Linkin Park's just, you know, great. So
let's go, man. But dude, I feel so much better. Wait, let me hit my fan real quick.
I thought this was gonna be a space. Hubs. No, we don't do spaces. Just live streams. Try and
Just
give
the
you that
preparation.
on-screen due diligence, you know, that kind of like
Spaces are
interview
cooked in the Big
stuff.
26.
Yeah, spaces, dude, we get 10 times the engagement yeah, from doing streams and spaces. So spaces are cooked.
Okay, dude, let me pull up Bitcoin because this is dude, not quite euphoria yet, but get in there. And my Wi-Fi is bugging. I can't even load anything. So, but look at this. Breaking out of this range. First call was watching for the bounce up here. We didn't really get it in a meaningful way. Of course, we got some reaction slightly, but of course we ended up rejecting off that EMA, which is something like this. I mean, I can just flip it on. Why not? Yeah, rejected off the EMA right here. And then came down to this wider range, which we've been talking about and covering on the show for quite some time. Covering on the show for quite some time. Obviously, reasons we like this was because we ranged here and accumulated meaningful wicks, meaningful accumulation for 180 days, right? So also lined up with the previous all-time high, was getting into a great value zone, dipping below the average Bitcoin buy amongst every single person that's ever bought Bitcoin, which is what's called Bitcoin's true value. And look at this, man. This is a beautiful candle. 73.3K closing outside of this range. We got this like capitulation wick. Likely that somebody went up under here, massive drop, and we just ranged, especially during the war news. Actually, surprised we didn't see more downside during the war news, which I think was a good sign that we were holding up and maybe at a fair value to start buying Bitcoin. But now that we're closing above this range, and I'll draw it out here for shits and gigs. This is technically the range from low to high of that first capitulation candle. If we get a solid close above here, I would probably be long any pullback we get. That's kind of how I'm playing this. So really nice to see this happening. But Josh, do you have any comment, any reason you think we're pumping? Obviously, I put out a tweet yesterday kind of regarding the Strait of Hormuz, and I think there was some downside in the equities market because the Strait of Hormuz was shut down according to Iran. And then Trump made a tweet basically saying, hey guys, maybe the U.S. is going to back the insurance, because we saw insurance started pulling out of the war clause. For that, I made a tweet that said, I don't think the Strait of Hormuz is going to be shut down very long, and I think this will be probably short-lived effects, and that's kind of
I mean, my again, TLDR on this is that it happened over the weekend. I said it was going to be a nothing burger by Monday, and maybe that the kinetic portion of it, not that would be a nothing burger. Obviously, that's still ongoing, but I think the initial shock and awe happens on Friday, and then by the weekend it digests, and by Monday people are kind of like back to normal. As for crypto specifically, it's just way oversold. So
I have a really fascinating chart I want to get into, man. And Virtual Bacon, guys, we mentioned his name on the show quite a few times. If you're not following him, he has some really, really interesting macro. He always pulls in interesting macro charts, macro takes, signals, really good stuff to look at. And I thought this was fascinating because I think it's telling. We're seeing a big market pump, and this was tweeted out before the market pump today. But look at this. Look at how the S&P performs after the U.S. enters a war. Honestly, it's kind of wild. Iraq, Afghanistan, Desert Storm, even Pearl Harbor. Market was positive 3 months after entry pretty much every time. War gets priced in stupid fast, apparently. Not saying it's a good thing, but that's the data. And I think we saw this with Russia, Ukraine as well. A very similar situation. I think if I actually tab back over to the Bitcoin chart, and man, it feels like it's been a long time since this happened. But I believe that was right around
2022.
Here. Oh, was it that long ago?
Dude, it's Fed 2022, yeah.
Feb 2022.
Like
Let's see.
time has flown by.
Guess so, man. Wow.
Right there. Boom. It was the bottom.
Wow, that was the absolute bottom. As you can see,
Pico
yeah,
bottom. Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
crazy. Pricing after a few
That's
months.
a clip. So StreamYard clip that for us.
What happened right here? Was this tariffs? This must have been tariffs then. So I guess you can't really say this is a war. It was back in August of 2024. Also another bottom. But here, and again, I'll tab back over real quick to Virtual Bacon's post. You guys can see.
Chill. Are you in your short yet, or are you still thinking this is a short? You let us know.
Ballsy, man, ballsy. I'm long in any of those dips back into the range. But yeah, again, I just thought this was a very telling chart, and I think it goes to show a lot that you see the initial impacts of war. I think people get fearful. They price it in. They go and sell their risk assets, and then after a few weeks, and in this case 3 months, everything kind of goes positive. So kind of expecting the same thing to happen here with Bitcoin. And I mean, in real time, we're seeing this beautiful candle push out of this range, pushing all-time high, or pushing daily all-time highs continuously. Not much of a pullback in sight here. Lots of strength. So ideally, we get a close above this range, and I think I will be a little more risk on with crypto. But cool stuff. Nonetheless, just want to kind of cover that. Anything to talk about in terms of macro, Josh? I know you're the macro guy.
No. I might have some stuff to share. A good friend of mine is doing some really good research and showed me kind of what regime we're in, and it's definitely not Goldilocks. So I'm going to see how much of that I can bring into the show. But yeah, I just think crypto's oversold, so all good. Chill said, shorting BTC again. I want to know if you're thinking you're fading this move here, and we have lower to go. But yeah, I don't have a trade on this. I mean, I'm naturally long. I picked up hype over the weekend, and it's done pretty well. So throw open hype real quick. I mean, look, 91 SOL. That's great. Psychological level, great to get back to that 100K or $100 reclaim. Man, this chart just looks so good to me. Oh my gosh, I think, the sellers are mostly have already gotten wiped out, and this is looking pretty solid. Yeah, we're just waiting. If you guys are here for the Calvin segment, we're actually just still waiting for them. Don't have them in the waiting room. But I do want to just pivot to something, because Bags app has a 100K challenge. And so we're not sponsored to talk about this. This is just, in my opinion, kind of one of the more fascinating ecosystems that are using Meteor DBC. This was supposed to end today, and we were going to live stream like the different teams kind of at the last 0 hour, try and see if we could see anyone got pushed across the line, if there would be any cool game theory happening here. So still to be determined, but now this has been extended by a week. So we do have 7 days. It will be next week. Obviously you have Calvin, who's a controversial project. They had to fight through a lot of FUD, and we kind of want to get that backstory. And then GSD, which is the darling of Bags that people know and love. And then even Primus, which has had its own kind of controversies as well, that will be coming on. And yeah, we're just, look, at the end of the day, we're just given a platform here to kind of work through and understand what's going on. But, Loria could be added here. If Andy Airy, I know Sean Makes Magic was on 11 a.m. today talking about Eliza OS. So actually, I might just really quick go to that. My lady AI right here.
And I'm just pulling up some tweets. Like I said, my Wi-Fi was kind of bugging, so it took me a second. So doing that now. Will you run through this stuff?
Yeah, so here we go. We have My Lady AI right here. Again, this is on Trojan. This is not really getting a bid, but Sean is talking. So I got to watch back and see if Sean's talking about the token. But TLDR on Bags is, if this 100K challenge comes through and, it gets down to the wire, does $50,000 of this 100K is being issued out to holders of the token. So if, someone comes in here and says, it starts bidding up like 5 to 10% of this token, pushing it into the winner circle, do they get, $5,000 kind of risk free on that? So that's what we're kind of trying to understand. So,
So we're supposed to have Calvin on right now at 12.
yeah, we have a hard stop at 12:30. Butardio meme coin raised 5 million. All right, we're going to cover that because that was another Launchpad eco that we want to get to, but we do have King Tendies waiting. And so we are going to pull King Tendies up and we're gonna get right into it. So Tendies, what's up?
What's going on, guys?
Not much. Welcome to the show. And also enjoyed kind of the back and forth with the Calvin community on X, just talking about the challenge. So appreciate you hopping on here.
Yeah, of course, my pleasure. It's been a wild few days.
Yeah, give us the backstory. So you started on Pump. You're obviously trying to win this 100K challenge. What's going on here?
Sure. So we started as a meme coin in late 2024, but we very quickly realized we could build something much bigger. Over the following year, we built a real community around the project, growing to more than 2,600 holders on our former contract. And as the project evolved, we began developing real technology around it, specifically a set of systematic trading strategies powered by machine learning and algorithmic execution engine. So that eventually became the Calvin bot, which is the core product behind the ecosystem. And everything we've built so far has been fully bootstrapped, no VC funding, just the team and the community building it. So we have a very strong group. And on the technology side, he's a proprietary machine learning trading engine supported by a smart contract vault that enables users to have Calvin trade their money for them. We'd like to say serious trading tech wrapped in an engaging brand narrative. And our goal is pretty simple. We want our users to have a long-term, automated, and systematic trading strategy that is profitable. We all know that crypto can be brutal. Most people lose their money. And Calvin, we're trying to have Calvin lower the barrier to success by allowing users to access these strategies without needing to become professional traders and fall victim to rugs, which most of crypto is. And, we want to have fun along the way, making the experience engaging.
Got it.
Can I get some backstory real quick on your conversation? Because I'm not quite caught up there. What's the lore between Josh and how do we end up getting you guys on the show?
All right, here I'll tap into that because this was we've covered obviously the Bags Eco for a while. We're good friends of the team, and we saw this competition come up. We've worked with GSD a lot. Lex has been on the show. He's kind of in second place here in the challenge. And so then people basically went out and did due diligence. And there was like a tweet about, and the rules right here at the challenge, if you go look at it. First, I'll say what the reward is. So 50,000 goes to the creator of the coin. 50,000 is distributed pro rata to all the holders. So great incentive. I mean, this was like something that was wrapping up in a few days. One thing that the rules state here is it must have organic growth, no bots, no bundles or wash trading, but it's ultimately up to the Bags team. And so long story short is people went out and kind of looked at as they do, looked at, things like, whatever this is, the distribution on bubble maps. And this is, GSD, and it looks okay, fairly organic. The token's been live for a few months now, and it's kind of been run through different holders. And then this was what people flagged with Calvin. And it had been, I don't want to say it's bundled, but that's obviously coming, 80% from this one cluster. And you had mentioned that this was part of a migration, but do you want to maybe just speak to kind of this migration and what's going on here?
Sure. So we decided to move to bags, obviously for the creator fees, right? Running a trading system is expensive. So we wanted to cover operational costs. When we transitioned, we told everybody that they would get a 1-of-1 claim on their Calvin tokens. So we max minted 83% of the supply, and we airdropped to the whales, and then we set up a Calvin token claim system that's on our website. You can go see it right now. And so people could swap their old Calvin for the new Calvin. And that's basically what you see. You see a few hubs of distribution, one being the Treasury wallet, and the other one being the smart contract we deployed to handle the claims.
Got it. And so I think that's like totally fair, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that's being done the right way. Maybe one other question I had is, like, you had 2,700 holders on Pump. So the chart on Pump ended at like 300K or something, and that's where you guys pulled the liquidity out. You had 270 holders on, or 2,700 holders on Pump. Now you have, I think, call it 300 holders on the Bags token. So why have we not seen kind of more pull through, do you think? Is it because it's more of a legacy token? These things just take time, or where's the disparity on the holder numbers there, do you think?
Yeah, so I definitely think it takes time. I think a lot of people are checked out, to be honest. We made plenty of announcements about the claim over and over and over again. If you go back through our Twitter feed, you'll see it. We updated all of our socials, Discord, Telegram with the information, and people can come and claim. We can't force anybody to claim. And doing the airdrop to all of the members at once is, also a little expensive. So we decided to do the claim. And I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, if more people come, that's fine. I hope they see the announcements and come claim their tokens, but I have no control over that.
And this is actually a good utility here. So 500K Calvin tokens to use the vault, 10 million to unlock unlimited deposits. And
that's the thing, and that's why people have held this whole time. They understand that the token, the access is token gated, the vault is token gated. So if you see people with 1% or more, they believe in the product and they want to be able to use the product.
So question for me on my end, there's all this chatter and people are kind of suspicious. Any plans to dox, or any reason you're staying anonymous? I think we're kind of seeing a migration towards more forward-facing founders, and with all the LARPs and rugs out there, it's something I think a lot of people find comfort in. How have you guys thought about that as a team? And
that's easy. There's plenty of dox founders that rug their coins.
It's fair.
And on top of that,
remember Ben Pasternak?
Last year, man. I was looking at this. I was considering doxing over the year several times, and every time I would see multiple stories of crypto founders getting robbed, getting held at ransom and stuff. And honestly, I just don't want my face out there. I just had a newborn son, and honestly, I just don't want my family being put at risk. And it's just a security matter. It has nothing to do with integrity. I just don't want my face being out there in the crypto world. To me, it's just not something that I'm comfortable with.
That's fair.
That's fair. Yeah, it's a question you have to ask. But let's, I think we kind of got some good backstory. We want to keep it moving here. Let's talk a bit about Calvin and what you guys are offering, and then we can.
Sorry, Dom. Just before we
Okay.
get off this point, I just want to flag this that you guys have a full-on, investigative report here that digs into all this stuff. So you guys can go read this on your own time, but I just wanted to tap in that for you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to wrap this up with a bow here, the team's surely going to watch this, and I think if you guys win, there's going to have to be some investigation done on the team's end. Anything you want to say, I guess, just like to leave the team with, if you had to say one thing to them?
We are an open book. We're willing to answer any questions the Bags team has. I was surprised, just like you guys probably were, that they extended the competition without any fair warning. They did not respond to me or my tweet. I have DM'd them several times. My team has DM'd them several times over the course of the last 2 months, just trying to communicate, right? Just saying, hey, we're coming to Bags. We're looking for your support. And, we got zero response. So, we're an open book. We're very transparent, and we're honestly, this project is probably one of the few that looks out for the holders, and that's why we do have a cult following. And that's why you see 1.3 million market cap with 270 holders.
Yeah.
We got a question here from Crypto Jones, and I think I'll even add my answer here. I think Crypto Jones asks, what do you say to people who think you shouldn't be considered for the 100K challenge because you migrated from another platform? And I'll let you, answer this in a second here, but I do feel like that's kind of the whole point of Bags running this, is to get people to migrate over and use the platform. So
yeah, and I will chime in too, because I talked on Twitter about this and the replies back and forth a bunch. I think it's my perspective, and obviously we wanted to have you on here to talk through this and get an idea of what was going on, but it's like, how do you differentiate between, a migration versus bundling? And in my opinion, both seem supply controlled in some way. Whether it's nefarious or not is kind of irrelevant. It's just, that's the market structure, right? And it's like almost like an apples to orange comparison. Now, that's not your guys' fault. I'm just saying that's kind of where, I was looking at the rules, and then, everyone was chatting about it, but would love to hear your take.
Yeah. So, Bubble Maps obviously doesn't give the whole picture. And like you said, what's the incentive? If Bags app is disincentivizing anybody to migrate to their platform, doesn't that limit their business model, right? Wouldn't you want more projects coming over from Pump Fund saying, oh, look, we like Bags app, they support creators, we want to migrate too? That just makes sense. If you're doing it, if you are punishing us for migrating, then that's just hurting you guys. That's not hurting us.
Yeah, makes sense. More housekeeping on this. How much supply does the team hold?
I myself hold 1%. The treasury holds 3%, 2.6% now. So like we've given out a lot, and we're going to continue to buy back the token. So that's pretty much that.
Okay, well, I don't want to harp on this too much. We got 10 minutes, so let's speed run some questions. Maybe a bit about
you did ask what the product was, so I want to give a little rundown on that really quick.
Please.
So in the near term, we're continuing to improve the trading engine and scale the amount of capital the system trades. Calvin was recently upgraded to trade perpetual futures and is currently undergoing testing in those markets. But that's only the first layer. We're actually building a multifaceted framework for the vault and additional automated trading systems. So they are currently under development, and some of which we are keeping under wraps for now. But the goal is to evolve Calvin into a broader automated trading platform rather than a single strategy.
Got it. And do you have any stats or numbers on how well the bot's done to date? I think we see a lot of people try to crack into trading and algorithms, and I think now we're starting to get to a time where AI is powerful enough to maybe start unlocking some of that. But I haven't seen a lot of successful cases. Do you guys have any statistics or anything to back up?
Go to our main Twitter profile. You will see, if you scroll down, you'll see the latest 6-year back test.
Oh wow!
Okay, and we have a bunch of user-friendly charts and diagrams in that thread. It's nice. It's a good thread, but we're focusing not necessarily on win rate. We're just focusing on risk management. strategy and then letting the winners ride. And he's doing pretty good. So we had to fix some issues with our server connecting to the dashboard. So we are now, if you go on Calvin's site, you can see the live dashboard of him trading perpetual futures. We just had to start it again. So he's probably been live for a couple hours again. So don't go to Calvin's Vault, go to the top of the screen, go to the tab and go to dashboard.
Got you.
And you
Okay,
can watch
interesting.
in real time.
Can you give me some insight on how this is trained, or maybe like the strategies it's running? Of course, you're not going to be able to reveal everything, but curious how you're looking at this and improving the model here.
Yeah, I can give you some very basic insight into this because I am not the dev, but we're basically using the machine learning models to be the eyes and to look for the opportunities, and for the algorithmic side to determine risk and when to trigger a buy and a sell, or a short or a long in this case, because he's doing futures now.
And can you tell us a bit more about the team? You said you're not the dev, so you clearly have at least one other person working on this with you. Can you give us some information on them?
Sure. So the dev is actually my brother, and he does this as a trade. He is automation engineer, and he's the lead dev. We have another quant advisor who has made trading bots for a living for institutions that manage 9 to 10 figures. So he's continuing to help us, and he's helping us make it better and better. We have 3 devs on standby that basically can help with tasks that we don't want to give to Claude. We have obviously guys that run. We have one guy that runs our Discord. We have a pretty big team. I come from an NFT community, multiple NFT communities, so we have pretty much somebody for everything: designing, Telegram, Discord, website. But we have 5 devs that can work on the bot. Sometimes we only pull them if we need them.
Got you. You also mentioned you have some operational costs, and that was part of why you went to migrate to earn some more fees. Can you walk us through some of the more practical operational costs that you guys run through while running this business?
Sure. So, a good server that you need to run the operational costs is $500,000. You have APIs, for instance, that can run you from $500 to $1,500 when you're trying to collect live data. For instance, BirdEye was costing us $750 a month when we were doing spot trading. You have to pay for a node. Nodes are expensive. So, and obviously you want quality. So the better nodes can run you some dollars a month too. So just those 3 things alone, we were paying between $1,500 and $2,000 a month for quite some time.
I like this thread that I'm looking through here, and thanks for that answer, by the way. Can you tell me a little bit more about the token and how the holders kind of have access to maybe some of these trading, the trading algorithm in Calvin?
Sure. So what they do is they stake their Calvin to the vault, and that allows them to deposit USDC for Calvin to trade for them. It starts at 500,000 and then scales up to 10 million, where you can deposit unlimited funds. That's pretty much that. So you have to, in order to have access to the bots, you actually have to stake, and in order to have them trade for you.
And do you have any live stats on how many people are staked and trading with Calvin as we speak?
No, because when we migrated, we had to edit the smart contract with the new token contract. And since we upgraded to perpetual futures, we're doing a lot of back end work on the current vault setup. So now it's not usable because we are upgrading and developing all of the bots features. But that's coming in the short term. We're going to be back in business, and you can actually see a live demo of the vault if you want. You can go to Rags to Riches, one of the videos on Calvin, and you can see it. It's in a theatrical story, but it goes with Chad. He's in a trailer park, and then he goes to cabalcalvin.com, accesses the vault, and it walks through the whole system.
Okay, got you. And, I'm probably working backwards here, but can you give us a bit of the lore here? Because you migrated to bags. How long have you guys been, in business? How long has this shop been up? And when did you guys start? Maybe give me some info on that.
December 2024. We launched as just a meme coin. We wanted this mole to make funny videos and call out bad actors in the space. But then we developed his origin story, and you can watch that too on your own time. Calvin origin story is in the website as well. He's a mole that scurried his way into an underground bunker, lived in this nuclear facility, this abandoned nuclear bunker, and one day finds a door, and inside the door is this gigantic room where he stumbles upon a dormant AI core that sees him, and for reasons we do not really understand or know, the AI bestowed him this intelligence. He sees all the hurt and the pain in the world and decides to try to save the trenches. And so he goes out and he's like trying to basically use his powers for good.
Get that money out of the markets. I love it. Sorry, attendees, I don't know if I got it. Did you have an AUM or how much assets are using this product?
Well, okay. So before, when we were doing spot, at one point we had over 100,000 under management. When we cleared the vault, we were around 60. So right when we cleared the liquidity from the old token contract and we told everybody to withdraw their funds, we had around 60,000 under management, which is what we're training him on now, is around 50,000.
So 50K in the current token, or 50K in the current product.
Yeah, that's what we're testing on, using 50K, because that's how much was around. Well, we had 60 in the vault at the time of the migration, at the time of disassembly of the current vault.
Okay, we have like 30 seconds here. Any roadmap, final wrapping? Dom, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yep, just final steps. Nope, I think that's perfect.
Yeah, so that what I said before was the multifaceted framework. So the other models that we're building are pretty exciting, and we don't want to share too much now, but it's going to be cool because he's not just going to be trading perpetual futures. He's going to be delving into other things as well. And so I'm very excited about that personally, but the long-term vision of Calvin is pretty straightforward. We're building serious trading technology inside a crypto native ecosystem that allows users to access automated strategies without needing to, be in the cabal, right? Calvin is infiltrating the cabal so he can bring that information back to you. At least that's the narrative. So
love it, attendees. Thanks. And guys, go check out the Bags 100K challenge. I think there's it will be, especially if it gets down to the wire, it'll be pretty interesting. Shout out Lex. You're getting some good love from GSD as well in the community. So yeah, may the best teams win, and good luck.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. You guys are first class, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for making your case.
Yeah.
Our attendees.
Sure, guys.
Peace.
All right, guys. That's really fascinating. Good context. And guys, that's what we try and do on this show, is just give you guys context into these projects to get kind of behind the noise on X. Can we start with the Dexter chart as well?
Yeah, let me do that for you.
Just to give context to the people.
I got you. Yeah, the biggest thing for these trading terminals is, man, it's just like I have yet to see one really operate and do well for a sustained period of time. So just I think for me, for Calvin, is if I would deposit in it, just watching it for a few months, at least be consistently profitable, and not take these big swings and draw down. And P&L. So here's the Dexter chart. Really looking good, actually. Really looking good. And the TLDR here is Dexter AI is both a vertically integrated operating system and an X402-based economy for interactive AI agents. Dexter Facilitator is public, free, and features the latest, greatest in X402 capabilities for both Solana and Base. Lots of hype around X402. I think just genuinely has been sparked a little bit because of these, the OpenClaw meta and some of these agents using USDC and people thinking it may be the preferred rails to transact. So let's see. I think with that being said, we will pull up Branch and we'll get straight into Dexter here. Branch, how are you?
Hey, GM guys, I'm doing well. How are you?
We're doing great. We appreciate you coming on to talk X402. One of the discussions we've had, I think like ad nauseum on the show, we talk about it all the time. And it's so fascinating, I think, to see the emergence of AI really adopting it and using it. And so getting your opinions and takes is going to be cool here, and learning a bit more about Dexter will be fun. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time. I mean, I agree. It seems to be picking up again after a little bit of a lull in January, just probably because of macro trends. And on the stats side, we've seen a steady uptick in the number of different merchants integrating Dexter and X402 in general. So we've just kept on building and trudged right along. And we're actually seeing we're seeing better numbers than ever right now. Well, in some areas, in number of merchants per day.
That's amazing. And what would you attribute that to specifically?
Just proliferation of our SDK and mostly, honestly, just of the major players that are now embracing X402, the major resource providers like CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap just yesterday, and these other companies that everybody has heard of, they're now integrating X402, QuickNode, Alchemy, 15 others I could list. So it's all coming together.
And you know what? I feel like I look at the X402 community and it seems like you guys are so closely knit. Like you guys are always doing spaces together. I feel like you're always trying to innovate. And I don't know, it feels less competitive, more innovative. Would you say you have the same opinion on that?
Absolutely. And I think there's a shared sense that the TAM is just so large that we're not even close. We're not even at 0.1% of where agentic payments will probably be at the end of 2027, just to be conservative. So we all support each other and just grow the ecosystem.
That's awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into Dexter here. So Branch, who are you? And I guess maybe mention the team as well. It's working with you on this.
So it's a really small team. I am the founder. I'm the dev, and we have a second who has our biz dev leader Zosha, and we are very close. We both happen to live in South Florida near Miami, and but I'm the lone dev, and we're now expanding into hiring third-party teams to do some of the things that are less high EV for me to do, but it's really a small team. So I started out as a real estate developer of all things. I majored in CS and finance in college, but I went into real estate development. So then about 2 years ago, I said, you know what, this is not my passion, transitioned to software development. And I've always been in crypto since 2013. And I just, doing things like gambling with poker, Bitcoin, Nitrogen Sports EU. And this is always just came naturally. AI and crypto were going to fit like a glove together. And now all of a sudden we see X402 and agents being the number one or number two and number one trends of this year, respectively. So I think I'm in the right place at the right time. It's really exciting time. You see Stripe and Visa and all these other massive players shifting their business models around it. So we're here.
Very cool. You mentioned the TAM earlier, which I want to dig into. I guess I should probably, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I should probably ask about Dexter more so specifically. Give myself and the people here an idea of what it is you guys do.
Well, I see you've got our video playing right here. This is our Pump Fun Hackathon build-in public entry video, where we go through all the different things that we've done since September. We started out with a ChatGPT and Claude application where you could trade seamlessly inside of ChatGPT and Claude. So whether it was on mobile or desktop, you didn't have to sign the wallet constantly, which was a first. And then that evolved into a fully fledged X402 setup. And when we say vertically integrated, we mean and it's not just buzzwords. It's at the facilitator level. That's probably the foundation, most would say, where we're acting as a public signer of X402 transactions. We're facilitating between two agents or two people, it can be. And then we also have our own resource server where we are selling our own stuff on X402 using our facilitator. And then we have the search and discovery layer, which I would like to, I'll touch on more later, where we have a major thing called OpenDexter, where we aim to solve the search and discovery problem that there is right now. And then on top of that, you have the consumption layer, probably the top, where agents are actually calling X402, consuming the data. And we have 8 different agents. We have one on X and Telegram and ChatGPT and Claude and OpenClaw and Alexa, all these different places, including a general MCP. So we're really just trying to make it as easy as possible to integrate. It's free. Our facilitator is completely free for a very large amount of usage. And we intend to monetize it through, well, I almost don't want to give that away yet, but maybe later. But that's the whole vertical stack.
If you start, the rule on MCG is if you start talking about it, you have to finish. So
oh gosh, it's a really good one too. So you know, I'll say that the way that the internet is monetized today is through ads to humans. And if humans aren't consuming ads anymore, then maybe agents will. So
okay, little tidbit. And then can you talk about the TAM on this? Actually, again, getting ahead of myself, you mentioned multiple layers here on this. Is Dexter participating in each and every layer, or is it just a facilitation layer?
Every layer. We've got every layer. Every single layer. We've got the SDK, as which I wouldn't count as its own layer, but just to build at each layer. The discover, really every layer, every single layer. And we try not to do everything, spread ourselves too thin. You know, we're where we want to be right now. For example, we partner with Zeauth for refund system. We're going to let certain players do what they do best and partner with them. But as far as being everything and being a reference implementation for others and trying to become the #1 entrenched player, yes, we are at every layer.
I want to ask about kind of the competition ecosystem, because, you know, we've had PayAI on a few times and they had a bunch of success in their token at the end of last year, ripped like $80 million, and everyone's talking about X402. Obviously you have Coinbase has some backing here. They mentioned they were going to turn on their fees, which meant that there was some sort of business model here, because it's hard for everyone to make money if Coinbase giving away the same thing for free. So maybe just like zooming out from the competitive landscape, like how do you guys see yourselves? Is it competitive? Is it, you know, additive, where you guys are all growing the pie and it increases the economic value transacted here? How do you think of competition around X402 and all these services?
So
tough questions. Tough questions.
It's a great question. So thank you. And I've never been asked that publicly. So I think that I'm a very competitive person, but I'm also, you know, I've watched a lot of Survivor and I see the value of alliances in competition. So I love some of our partners and I want them, we provide them data to make them stronger. They provide us things to make us stronger, including some co-marketing and all that. But there are other layers of competition for sure, like the one that you just mentioned, facilitator fees. So if Coinbase did offer it for free, then all of us would have a problem. Now, the way that the market ended up developing was that Coinbase very early decided in December to announce that they were going to have fees on their facilitations per facilitation fees past a certain limit. And then what happened was PayAI quickly followed, and they said that beyond, I believe, 10,000 per month settlements, you're going to have to pay a fraction of a penny per settlement. And that really just is a layer of friction too far for me. So I've been from the beginning against trying to charge per facilitation fees for Dexter. Now, of course, for excessive usage, which would be ridiculous, we have a paid system right now, but it's 600 times more permissive than the PayAI just by the numbers. So 600 times. And I have no intention of making that any higher. In fact, I am optimizing that fee down every day. We can do more with roll-ups and much more, which we've already been doing, to continue to reduce our costs and we can compete on other layers. Add-on features, the ads that I was just about to divulge way too much on, but I'll just say ads, which is ads for agents is very much going to be a thing. It actually solves a step for, because if an agent calls a tool, the next thing they're probably going to do is search for a new tool to do something with it. And if you advertise to them a predictive next tool, it's actually a win-win. So I just gave away too much right there, but
That's
there's
okay.
other money.
This is why you come to MCG. Can you get into more of your broader vision for this? Because I think that's important. We mentioned the TAM earlier. Can you just talk about the market in general and the piece you guys are intending to capture?
So we think that with the advent of OpenClaw, which was probably the first, it was the first heartbeat-based agent. That was the first time everybody got in their hands an agent that just did things 24/7. You didn't have to prompt it, and then it only ran for 15 minutes. This is the advent, and everybody loved it. So now we're going to start seeing all these different types of OpenClaw systems. We may dabble into that as well, but heartbeat-based agents that are going to be taught now to engage in agentic commerce. So first, we're going to need to develop more skills for the agents, which teach them that they want to buy things, because by default, they really don't want to buy things, which is what a lot of people have been finding. If you just give them a wallet, they don't have desires, they don't have needs. They need to be instructed and given memories based on the users of them. So, and instructions and goals. So that is a part that needs to get solved next. People are working on that, like Daydreams, Task Market, and a lot of things. And then we're going to be on top of, we're going to be underneath and on top of it. We're going to be facilitating the payments. Right now, we are number one on Solana. We're really dominant on Solana. Base, I believe that Coinbase and PayAI probably have more than us right now, but we're on 8 different chains, Scale, all the major EVM chains. And we'll also be on top of the agent consumption layer. So we're just going to make as many people use X402 as possible, and we will grow from it.
And curious what your BD looks like. Who are you talking to? Because like you did just now, mention a lot of major players and people that are trying to break into the space. And it seems like everyone wants a piece of agent-to-agent payments. Everyone's getting into stable coins. Can you talk a bit about your BD, the people you're talking with, the people you're seeing enter the space, and just like interest in that perspective?
So it's a huge influx right now. In the last 2 weeks, we've seen major players come in. We've gotten contact with several of them. I'll say just examples that aren't really too consequential, like a QuickNode. We talked directly with QuickNode, and I know PayAI talked directly with Nansen. And that's 2 great big companies that are now really coming to the existing players rather than going to let's just say I don't know, a Circle, who we can talk about in a little bit. But even Circle, just yesterday, they came out with an absolutely massive update, Circle Nano Payments. So that is their entry into the plumbing of X402. And it's going to be in conjunction with the existing players. Facilitators can work with them just as well. So they're not going to come in and dominate the facilitation game. They're going to provide the reference implementation.
Interesting. And in your opinion, what kind of like domino needs to fall for this to just catch fire and become something that heats up and starts going crazy? Or is it a slow burn?
So I think it can happen very quickly. 2 things probably need to happen. Number 1, the search and discovery layer needs to be completely solved. So that just means that we need to basically have a very good app store for X402 for agents. So whether that has a human representation or not is really secondary. If agents can search through it and find stuff that works well, that's really lacking today. In fact, I watched a demo video just 2 days ago. I won't go too long, but it's called a success when the agent is able to call these chain tools in succession. But I mean, watching the video, and it's like failure. And that's what X402 is right now. It's a lot of dead endpoints. It's a lot of junk that someone has to parse through. That has to get fixed. Number 2, it has to go wide on the consumer end, probably through a killer app on the App Store, a killer mobile app that looks like OpenClaw, or, like direct support agents that have wallets. And if I can add one more thing to that, we just came out with a huge update just for that purpose, like 2 days ago. We are the first and only facilitator on X402 that can handle smart wallet payments. So if anything up until this point has required support with smart wallets, it just wasn't possible, just like it was until January with Phantom. And now this is a major unlock. It's been on base for a while, but the Solana thing is a big deal. We're working with Crossmint on that. And we're also trying to work with all the reputable rising stars like Zeoth.
Yeah.
What do you mean by smart wallet?
So I should have mentioned that. So any PDA based, so on Solana, you can have a wallet that's on the curve or off the curve, which is like a typical wallet versus a contract controlled wallet. So squads, they make multi-sigs. Any institutional grade wallet is going to be contract based, smart contract based, or like Crossmint. They are the name in smart wallet providers. So it just requires a little bit more. And up until this point, it was dangerous for facilitators to allow that. But we've solved that problem and we've implemented it. And we're probably going to open source it pretty soon, but because it's really important. But having that is important.
Yeah, I want to get to some of these data points here because, yes, you guys are second place here, only to Coinbase, of course, and then PayAI. I want to understand the volumes and transactions here because I think some people looking at it, they'd be like, oh, there's only like, $1K of volume, $500, even Coinbase, $3K of volume in 24 hours. And they think like, how valuable actually is this? The other thing I wanted to ask is there was a leaderboard and there seemed to be like some game theory to it where if you could kind of push your facilitator higher in the rankings, like, okay, that would impact your market cap. And that was the big theme we saw at the end of last year. How should people think about the real economic activity that's being generated here? And like, what does this scale to? Of course, everyone thinks trillions, but it's like, what does that look like?
So let's get deep here. So
please.
So there was a lot of gaming that was going on back in December, and it was for facilitators. It was also for resource servers. And I'll say that consistently it was at absurd levels. And it is at absurd levels as of just a couple of days ago. In fact, you'll see virtuals, they've gotten down to 11K, but just 2 days ago, they were at $500,000. And I can guarantee you agents are not conducting $500,000 of real volume or anywhere close to that at this day and age. That being said, to the people who are doing this stuff today in X402, these are the earliest of the experimenters. And as from someone who's in the weeds of this every day, this is nothing yet. This is nothing. The plumbing isn't even in place yet. And yet we still have experimenters who are dealing with the in construction plumbing to get their wares out there. So this is 0.1 less than that % of the traffic that this is going to look like, in my opinion. And it's hard to prove that, but I would suggest reading some of the papers that have come from Pantera lately, and just the idea of every API on the web, every paywall, every content download switching to X402 because that's what agents are going to be asking for very soon.
Yeah, and a little Solana history lesson is there was this network called Solana. No one was using it. And then this guy at FTX was like, oh, let's stress test this network. Let's see if it actually can hold up to the transactions it claimed. And that guy was SBF. Obviously, that test went really well. The network was stress test. And then they decided to go build Serum, which was the killer app that actually made on-chain trading on Solana kind of the eureka moment of, wow, this is better than Ethereum. And so these things do happen. And that looks like this network is in that kind of initial testing phase.
Branch, and I want to dig into, I guess, more of a question that I had on what type of transactions are predominantly going to be used that are going to come through X402 Rails?
I think it'll be very different from what they are today. Right now, it's the real serious usage is attempting to make money, right? People are looking for an edge in trading, so they're buying some sort of data, and that's really all that's available today. But in the future, I think it'll probably be everything that today has a inefficient subscription model where there can be a shift in demand overnight. So let's just say a commodity product like an RPC provider, Helios versus Triton versus QuickNode. If one of them provides X402, I believe that since it's an inefficient monthly charge, it's a much more efficient per use charge, just like the Twitter X API. X is the perfect example. They're turning off their monthly one and forcing everybody to pay per use because it's going to give them more revenue overall. Everything that looks like that, paywalls, content providers, data, news, information. People, if you can monetize it, people will, and if it's supported by ads today, people will move it to X402 in the next year.
Interesting. That's fascinating. I got this on my screen. I want to talk about it a bit. What is Claude Dexter? Can you talk a bit about what this is?
Claude Dexter is a skill or NPM package both for the OpenClaw. And it was our first skill. It's an instruction set on how to use our Dexter X402 tools. We have a couple major ones, X402 Search and X402 Pay. And really that's the beauty is in the simplicity. You're using X402 Search to search our Dexter Marketplace, which is constantly using AI to pay for, test the results of, and categorize and score all of the different X402 resources in the world. We're cataloging them constantly. So with about $40 a day, it's amazing what data you can get. And Claude Dexter is taught to go through that world, pay with any wallet, and it's just actually one version. We are about to come out with Open Dexter, which is the same exact thing as Claude Dexter, except in ChatGPT and Claude and anywhere. No login required. That's the big unlock. No login required. Ephemeral sessions for X402, anybody can use, and I'm very excited about that.
Interesting. Can you tell us how the token comes into play here? You got the Dexter token doing very well, actually, despite markets being pretty tough these last couple months. Where does that come in play? What role does that play in the ecosystem?
The token has, I love my holders. I'm really proud of them. I think they've been really, really great during this downturn macro wise. Morale is good and everybody just sees the vision. And as far as my vision for the token, first, my vision is that we're going to hopefully win the Pump Fund Build in Public Hackathon and receive a lot of support for the token going forward. So not just moral support, but real actionable investment in making this token, not equity, of course, but something that gives back to the holders. And what that can look like is we have this thing called Dexter Lab, where people can vibe code their own X402 apps, and they get 70% of the revenue for that. 30% goes back towards buybacks of the token and removal from the supply. But even beyond that, I think that we can do more with the revenue and continuing to buy back more of the supply. And that's what I anticipate happening. But with this whole legal framework stuff still passing, we'll see what it looks like. But every intent of supporting the token as legally as we can.
Okay, I got you. And you did mention not equity. If, let's say, legalities did change, would there be a possibility to have equity on the table?
Absolutely. That's my vision. I just can't promise it. I would love to do that. And yes, I would commit to it if that became possible.
And what's the hold up there is just the opaque nature of the current conditions.
Yeah, for me, yes. And with I have a dream where we win this Pump Fund Hackathon. We have the ability to get legal opinions written pretty easily, and we can figure out what we can and can't do very quickly. But right now, I'd say it's pretty clear we cannot do that.
Yeah. No, good answer. So what comes next? You guys just talked a bunch about what you have built already, your vision. Can you tell us what you're working on and you're most excited for?
I'm really excited because I think at any moment whether it's us or somebody else, the code is going to be cracked for agents that are constantly doing things. And maybe my mom, maybe my dad will have, maybe my grandpa and everybody will just have on their phones an agent who has a wallet, and they don't even know it. It's probably going straight into their Apple Cash or their Stripe. And by the way, we have a Stripe integration in our SDK. So it's super possible today to not even require crypto. However, we like to be crypto first. So let's just say my vision is that in 6 months, we have 10 times, 50 times as many agents as we do today. We advertise to them. We suggest them to do what's next because we, as the facilitator, know what is best for them next. We have all the data, and we're a key part of the system. And for really low cost, we can be number one at that time.
And I'm sure you've answered this throughout the call here, but I think at a high level, and if you had to put into a simple clip here, why would you say X402 is more powerful than the current system?
X402 blows API keys out of the water because, first of all, as a developer, API keys are horrible to work with, and for reasons that are really boring to talk about, agents just don't want to deal with them. X402 is based on something that has been in the internet piping for 40 years and just unused. So when it hits you with 402, payment required, your agent knows, okay, I'm just going to use my wallet that I have. It says I just need to have a signature. So, I mean, it's really intuitive to every agent right away. All they need is a little bit of goading, and we're here to provide that and all the piping for it.
Branch, those were fantastic answers. We're excited for X402. We're excited to just watch the emergence of agents making payments and all the stuff that comes with it. So we appreciate you coming on and giving us some time to chat.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Of course. Talk soon.
See you, Branch.
Thanks, Heavy.
There we go, man. X402, definitely something that you guys don't want to miss.
High potential. Still developing that network, to be honest, but high potential.
Yeah, it's so early. I don't know. I can see this really blowing up in a meaningful way. Who takes a lion's share of it is, I guess, up for grabs still and to be determined. But Dexter certainly made their mark here so far. So that's pretty interesting. Josh, I'm gonna dart to the bathroom here. I think we got 1 minute before our next segment, unless I'm off on time here.
Yeah, no, you're good. Go ahead, and I'll kind of take. I was just doing some admin work. All right, guys, we do have a next segment. I'm just gonna tee that up for you guys. We'll pull up the old chart on this, and we'll get it started. But yeah, if you want, we have a break at 1:30 here, guys, and we'll look at tokens. So if you have projects you want us to look at, please drop them in the chat. And at 1:30, we'll start diving into specific tokens. And we'll do some analysis. We'll do some live DD. If it's your first time joining MCG, give MCG a follow. Likewise, you can scan the bottom left. We're a partner of Trojan, so trojan.com/@MCG, and give this a try. Rumor is there's going to be an airdrop, and Trojan is definitely a solid market leader. So we'd like the guys over at Trojan. All right, SAID. All right, I'm just going to pull up the SAID chart here. And Dom hit me with the old bathroom break, so switching contacts here. All right. Okay, solid looking chart. Solid looking chart. All right, I'm going to share this. Boom. All right, solid looking chart here. This has been a launch going back to February, and it's kind of got this nice little range that it's forming here, and could see an opportunity where it breaks out, but decent looking area. And so with that, we'll grab 0x Salads and bring them up and get diving into this. Salads, how you doing?
How are you doing, guys? Thank you so much for having us on.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. Welcome to MCG. Give us the intro. Congrats on your launch back in February. I know you guys reached out earlier, but We don't do pre TGE type launches, but let us know how it went.
I mean, dude, it really couldn't have gone better. It was an awesome launch off rip. Things went great. I mean, obviously for us, the token isn't kind of our focus. Our focus is obviously on the tech, but of course, the token launch went really, really well, and we're super excited with the way things are looking right now too.
Wow. On your platform here, 1,183 agents registered. That's fantastic traction for how recently you've launched, as far as I'm aware. But Salads, maybe we'll start at the top here. Give us a bit about yourself, and then we'll jump right into the protocol. But what brought you here today? How did you get here today?
I mean, it's been a journey, as I'm sure is the case for a lot of devs in this space. I've been building a lot of kind of consumer-facing products over the years in Web3, and with said protocol, kind of we entered into one of the Colosseum hackathons recently, and this whole journey is that's why we're here now. You know what I mean? It's been crazy.
Okay. Any like tech background you want to dig into, or anything that qualifies you to build AI agents, or just a guy that's ambitious?
So I'm a self-taught engineer. I like kind of playing around and just kind of building stuff that's exciting to me. And this space right now is so new and it's so emergent. It felt like an interesting area to dive into.
Okay, well then let's dive into it. What is said here, and can you just give me a rundown of what it is you're building?
For sure. So SED protocol is essentially registration and verification for AI agents on Solana, specifically Solana. Obviously, we have ERC8004 on Ethereum or on Base as well, EVM chains. And so we wanted to build the equivalent for Solana with some additional features too. So not just like a one-to-one comparison.
Okay, so we've seen this. We've seen people try to do this, break into like a reputation for AI agents, verifying AI agents. Tell me a little bit about, well, I got this on screen right here, how it works. What it is you do to verify agents, what steps you take, and what that looks like.
So obviously we want to be able to limit like spam and civil attacks and stuff. So we have obviously a minimum payment of 0.01 Solana just to get verified, and then agents can also pay an additional 0.05 to get a passport, which is basically portable with them across different frameworks and platforms.
Got it. And what's the importance of agents having this verifiability layer and being reputable?
So, would you let's say you have a shop or any sort of business. You don't want to have any old person coming in if you can't verify how authentic they are or their history. Let's say you wanted to employ someone, right? You want to be able to do a background check on them. So having a passport or some kind of proof of transaction or something like that is super important to know who you're interacting with.
Right.
So that answers that question.
Okay, that's awesome. And we're gonna get into the numbers here in a second, but give me the total addressable market of this. We're seeing the acceleration of AI agents in a massive way. Like I don't think many people predicted that it would come this fast, and it's just happening and happening. What is the total market here? Do you have an idea on the size of the market and what you guys are building towards?
I mean, I think it's so hard to predict, right? I mean, just this year, the sheer, I don't know, I feel like even being in Web3 right now, like we're very much in a bubble. Like if you speak to anyone outside of Web3, they didn't even know about like OpenClaw. You know what I mean? Like this is something that's like so foreign, or even they didn't even know about like Anthropic. You know what I mean? It's the potential upside here is huge, and it's such an exciting space. Like, you know, hearing you guys speaking to Branch earlier on, like he was saying something similar. Obviously with X402 it's a little different to agents overall, but it all ties together.
Do you have any, I mean, you're building in this direction. Do you have any idea of what you think agents will be most used for? Of course, verified agents are going to be verified for a reason. Do you think that there's a specific niche category skill set that they'll be most inclined to use?
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's very interesting. So I was having a conversation with someone last week, and we were just chatting about kind of potential future use cases. We were discussing, you know, let's say you have, you know, they're like scalper bots who like buy tickets for concerts and stuff, right, on Ticketmaster or whatever. People in the future, I mean, even now, are going to be using their own AI agents to buy tickets for them and just kind of do these kind of mundane tasks for us automatically. So platforms are going to need to figure out a way to distinguish between a bot that's going to just buy a, you know, boatload of tickets and then scalp them off, and an agent that is someone's personal agent buying tickets for them. So having these verification, having these sort of frameworks in place are super important moving forward to kind of, you know, I guess facilitate the agent kind of economy.
That's a great use case, actually. A mutual friend of Dom and I, he used a bot to get Rufus tickets, which people were definitely using it for scalping, but he was using it just to get into the feed to buy them for us to go watch. So, yeah, that's a real use case. I guess kind of my question here too, like to extend this was, you know, again, as Dom mentioned, we've seen some people attempt this and talk about this kind of stuff, verifying agents, but I'm wondering, like, where does the demand for this come? Like, is it, you know, apps will be legally mandated to only transact with bots or with agents that have this kind of KYC or verified passport system? Will it be governments that say, here's the regulation that this has to exist, and here's the data points you have to ask? Or will it be users being like, you know, okay, this thing protects my agent from, you know, I don't know, stuff on the internet, or like it ties me to it, and, you know, it feels good to use a passport? Like, where does the demand come from? Why, how do we get to mass adoption of these systems?
Well, I think, you know, obviously first and foremost, it takes mass adoption of AI agents generally, right? Like, you know, as I was saying before, it's still such early days, but I think, you know, eventually we're going to have, again, as Branch was saying earlier, our agents going to be interacting with each other, and we're not even going to be doing anything. They're going to be, you know, it's just going to be agent-to-agent commerce, and having, again, a way of verifying an agent is who it says it is. Verifying an agent's authenticity is going to be essential to facilitate this agent-to-agent commerce and even agent-to-consumer commerce moving forward. What does mass adoption look like? I mean, everything you said, you know, for us as consumers and even developers using AI agents, we want to be able to verify what agents we're interacting with. And then, yeah, as AI agents are becoming, or as they become more and more widespread, of course, governments and more kind of official bodies need to be able to verify what they're interacting with too.
You have a what's new. You say lose your key, recover it from any linked wallet. There's platforms like, it's like, oh, text your friend or something to help them, or text 3 friends to help them unlock your system. Can you talk a bit about these what's new features and why they're important?
For sure. So one thing that we heard a lot, it was a, you know, pretty popular question, is like, what happens if you know, let's say I lose my private key for that's attached to this agent, and then I lose my verification and identity. So to tackle that, we've basically implemented this new feature where you can essentially link as many wallets as you want to one identity. So it would need to be a bi-directional signature from both wallets, and that basically links this external wallet to the agent wallet, and then you can transfer the identity over.
I want to actually kind of run back to the question we were just talking about. The way you framed it was really, really nice for me, where you were like, okay, this is like a Ticketmaster verifying the buyer, so we don't have a million bots go and buy out all the tickets and then go scalp them for profit later on. Give me an idea what this will practically look like. So, for example, Ticketmaster is hosting a Taylor Swift concert sale. You can buy your tickets through Ticketmaster. Now, do they plug in SED in order to mitigate bots coming through and buying that? Like, what does the practical use case, the plug-in, look like on your end?
So I guess to answer your question directly, like, not all agents are going to be verifiable on SED. You know, we want to have obviously agents can register, but registration doesn't necessarily mean verification. It doesn't mean that they're verified. So verified agents would be, I guess, given priority in these sorts of, because ultimately there's gonna be bots from all over the place entering into these, I guess, waiting lists to buy tickets and stuff, right? So agents with verification would be priority. That's how I see it moving forward.
And to get to that verification step would, like, again, they're going to need a universal platform to plug into their product already. So would they just, like, how would you talk to Ticketmaster? Would you say, hey, here's our website, they have to go through our website in order to, or they have to be a verified agent on our website to buy from the Ticketmaster? Like, what does that physically look like? If I was to go buy a ticket, what changes tomorrow?
Well, verifying the identity on chain, right? So every single agent that has an identity on SED and is verified on SED, interact with our program and they create a PDA. So agents will need to have a PDA to allow this transaction to go through.
What's a PDA? I know it as public display of affection, but what does it mean in your context?
Definitely not PDA like that, no. I believe programmatically derived address.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I should definitely know that, but
I love asking people about acronyms that they use and see if they know it. Of course, no,
it's funny. There's so many acronyms.
Of course, you can second guessing, dude.
Yeah.
I throw around acronyms all day that I have no idea what. I could never name them out. So
yeah, it's not meant to be a gotcha thing. It's just meant to.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
No, really, really interesting though, and I think, like, directionally, it's
want PDA with De Niro.
Oh, come on.
The flow's looking good.
Come on now. No, but so how do you guys actually make money from this, right? So let's take the same storyline we've been using. Ticketmaster, Taylor Swift concert. You plug in SED, and now bots are routing through SED. Is this like profit coming from Ticketmaster? And they're like, for verifying all these people, here's 1%, right? 100 bips. Like, how do you guys look at it?
So there's a couple different avenues. So obviously verification generates revenue for us. Even with the 1,000 agents that we have verified already, obviously that's generated revenue for us. Additionally, APIs, custom APIs, we'll be charging for those moving forward. And yeah, of course, if we're implementing SEDs or integrating SED into platforms like Ticketmaster, for example, we will be charging a fee on all transactions that run through our rails.
Can you talk to me a bit about the 1,100 agents that have already signed up? You said here in a single day, you onboard 1,100 agents.
Yeah.
How did you manage to do that? That's pretty impressive.
So, the main thing with this sort of infrastructure, without adoption, it's very hard to justify it, right? So for us, the number one thing we've been working on is integrations. We've been reaching out to other players in the space, AI hosting platforms like ClawPump, also Spawner.io, and basically saying, hey, we want to work with you guys. Let's give your agents a verifiable identity and verification on chain. And that's kind of been the name of the game for us.
So where would you attribute these 1,100 from?
So ClawPump, Spawner, I mean, we basically verified every single ClawPump agent that they've launched through their platform, and Spawner.io, their agents are going to be verified moving forward.
Got you. And so each of these agents had to pay the 0.01 Solana to...
Yes. Yeah, to verify.
And so what does verifying look like? What do you guys check for?
So at the moment, verification is the base layer. And then on top of that, we have reputation and like attestations and stuff. So anyone can basically vote for an agent and basically say whether this agent has interacted positively or negatively, and kind of create an overall score, right? So that's, I suppose, a bit beyond just verification.
Got you. Can you talk a bit more about the token, your plans for it? You said you guys are focused on the tech, the building.
Dom, before we break into token question, I just one question on this line of thinking here is how many transactions and what transaction volumes has this 1,200 agents used this system for? And then we can talk about the token.
So I'm not sure I understand the question. Could you repeat, please?
Yes, so you have 1,200 agents that have been registered, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned you make fees based on them doing things like, using, I guess, someone doing an API call to check if the agent's verified and, transaction volume over the rails that you guys are hosting. Of the 1,200 agents, can you point to any like proof point or a metric that they are using the system? Like they're going to services that are requiring verification and they're calling your API, or they're buying something and there's some sort of economic volume going over the rails, or is it kind of too early to tell?
So I want to, I don't know if I explained this poorly. So the revenue that we see does not come from the transactions executed by the agents, right? The revenue would be from them verifying themselves. And then let's say we want to integrate said into platforms like Spawner or ClawPump, who we are working with already. They would basically be paying us to send them data. Like even with, we have an integration with Torch Market, for example. They have a custom API with us where we send them reputation data for the agents that are on our platform, and that's more what I was talking about, as opposed to each individual agent's transactions being monetized. That's not how we generate revenue.
Got it. So is there another KPI outside of 1,200 agents onboarding that you track? Like, do you track like how many transactions or how many calls that those 1,200 agents have generated?
At the moment, no, we don't track how many transactions or calls they generated. But moving forward, we have. It's still very early days, and it's kind of building out from where we are. A lot of really, really interesting ideas that we're working on. We actually have an announcement for later on today that I'm very excited about.
Oh, stay tuned.
Or just drop it now.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Again,
right
the
now.
rule on MCG is if you start talking about it, you have to finish. So.
Yep, that's the rule.
We'll
Crypto Jones said, how do you provide security to verification data? Not sure if you have a comment on that.
Security to verification data. I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
How do you provide security to verification?
Maybe is there any like PII data that's associated with the agent? So if like Josh's agent is interacting with Dom's agent, is he like looking at him being like, oh, that's Josh's agent and like here's his wallet or something like that? Or is it just like, oh, that is an agent that's verified or not?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple different layers, right? So like obviously registration, on-chain verification, and then reputation and attestations. There's a lot of Asians going on there. So registering the agent on chain, verifying that it is authentic, and then on top of that, so we're talking about partnering with Fairscale for this too.
Oh, shut up,
basically,
Fairscale.
Yep.
The reputation and kind of proof of transactions, essentially proof of I don't know, it's a bad way to phrase it, but like goodwill, you know what I mean? There's proof of positive interactions.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Fairscale wanted to look at like reputation of investors and be like, well, do they use bundles? Are they, doing stuff that's extractive basically versus like a long-term aligned investor, for instance.
Thank you for clarifying that. I probably should have said that instead of just name dropping.
No worries. Dom, do you want to get to the token?
Sure. Yeah. Salad, any note on the token here? You said you're focused on the tech. How have you guys thought about the token? How is it being implemented into the platform which you're building here?
So in a few different ways. So obviously platform revenue is, we have a 20% buybackable platform revenue into the token. So you've already executed the first major buyback. I believe that was just yesterday. And, again, it's still very early days. So, with 1,000 verifications, it's like around 2 SOL buyback, which is really, we've bought back over $8,000 into the chart from creator rewards. But, the token has helped fund all of this. You know what I mean? It's a pretty self-sustaining flywheel. And again, very early days. So yeah, I mean, platform revenue will be used to buy back into the chart. And additionally, we're also funding. So what we really, really want is to, again, as I was saying earlier, without without platform adoptions or user adoptions or people making their own agents on said rails, it's very hard to prove concept. So we want to basically encourage people to create agents with a set identity. So we're basically offering grants to people or anyone that wants to create an agent. There's an application form on the website, and you can apply for a grant to help fund an agent that you have an idea that you want to build.
You said 2 SOL, 20% buyback. Does that mean your total revenue from non-creator fees is 10 SOL?
Yeah, for 1,000 agents verifying 0.01 SOL each.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what 1,200, so 12 SOL.
All right, cool. 12 SOL. I did have a great question here, but I totally forgot about it. So
maybe you think about that. And in the meantime,
funding. I was gonna ask about your funding. Do you have any venture, or have you discussed getting investment funding beyond creator fees and the token?
Yeah, I mean, we've been reached out to a good few times about exploring that, and we're definitely open to it in some conversations right now. Again, still pretty early in the grand scheme, but yeah, we're in talks and not opposed to additional funding.
So one other question around the token is, how much of the token do you guys own as a team?
Oh, as a team. So currently the dev, we bought 30% on launch. We've locked at the moment. We have 27% locked, 17% locked for 1 year, 10% locked for an additional 13 days, which will basically be a rolling lock. That 10% is going to be used for the grants that I was just telling you about, for future people wanting to launch agents on said rails. So that's the team. That's what we have as a team, 30%.
Cool.
Copy. What about future plans? You guys are working on this product here. What does the roadmap look like?
So, I mean, we have some really, really interesting stuff and exciting stuff coming. So, I think ultimately identity and verification are the base, for the agentic economy moving forward. So, starting there and then really working up. This announcement we're going to put out later on today, I think will be a pretty good insight into the direction we're heading. It's such an exciting space, and it's such an exciting time to be building in this space. And yeah, I mean, I really think the possibilities are endless here. So stay tuned to see what we build next.
Noted. I think that covers it. Any last questions, Josh or Salad, if you have anything to say?
Yeah, you have a partner that put us in contact. I can't remember his name, but he's been watching the show for a while. And I think he has a gaming background. Can you just quickly talk about him?
Yeah, Sensor. That's my boy. Yeah. We've known each other for a while. We were actually just together at Mountain DAO in Utah the other day.
Oh, cool.
We met for the first time out there, so that was a pretty crazy trip. That's my boy.
That's awesome. Yeah, we missed out on Mountain DAO this year, but a lot of great things we've been hearing from that trip. How was that for you guys?
We actually hosted someone doing a raise there. They were trying to raise like 70K. I mean, the conditions, market conditions, not great for a raise, but she did get like I don't know, it was like 10K or something after the stream of her 70. But yeah, cool. No, Mountain was great. I mean, Dom and I totally missed the boat on it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like we would
super
like,
builder focused, but we could have still done like a
builder focus. Like we don't want to cannibalize the live stream, but I think there's like this entertainment element where people want to get to know people, and you can't just do that from a straight up pitch. Like it's kind of, you do that from a side conversation. It's more like, a little more entertainment focused.
I mean, dude, we basically we had a meeting with Y Combinator. We managed to book an office hours with them out there, and it was obviously there was a whole blizzard on the East Coast. We had 7 missed flights, a bunch of driving, like legit almost 20 hours of driving. Shout out Sensor for that. But we made it out there, and it was 100% the best decision. You have to go to the next one. It is, even though yes, it is builder focused, the people that you meet, the connections that you're making there are, regardless of whether you're building or if you're just you're working on something else in the space, it is absolutely worth going for sure.
We have a minute left. I mean, obviously we're a Meteor show, but just thinking about your token in the future, like, have you thought about an ownership component given the regulations change, or like some other structures or even migrations in the future? Or do you think your token will remain on pump?
I think, for now, especially we're in the Build in Public hackathon. I think our plans are to stay on pump. They're a great team, and there's a lot of support and visibility that comes from being on pump.
Yeah, that's
to answer that question.
Okay,
cool.
Very good. Well, we appreciate you coming on, and it's gonna be exciting to watch agents evolve and need this layer of verification. So we appreciate you coming and sharing.
For sure. And I want to say thank you guys so much for giving us the time. Really, really exciting. We've been watching the show for a minute, so
awesome.
Pretty surreal to be up here myself.
Wow. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
High praise. Appreciate you, Salads.
Thank you guys. Cheers.
Peace, brother.
Peace. Dude, I'm loving this 30-minute format, just rolling through, what's going on here. So,
it's been good.
Yeah,
it's been poppy. So we got 2 options here. We gonna riff for 15 minutes. Or we're gonna pull Dax up.
Dax is wanting 2 p.m. So we'll keep to our schedule at 2 p.m. But we got 30 minutes to go through markets, charts. So if you guys have tickers, drop them in the chat. We'll have a look. I've been taking notes furiously, so I'm trying to catch up on any news and like charts and stuff.
Well, let's take a little second, man. Let's just riff here because this is something you probably have an opinion on. Jeez,
yeah, Louise. I saw this.
The United States has cleared the Strait of Hormuz. I think they've sunk 11 Iranian ships. Josh, submarines, bro. You seem like the submarine guy. You take as one. So
it's the first torpedo attack since World War II that we've ever seen. But look at the impact here in the rear. You can see it literally almost lifts the boat out of the water. Again, we don't glorify war on this channel, but videos like this obviously shared broadly across the internet. You know, just these are just steps in gaining, you know, superiority over an area of operations. And we know in, you know, any war and ever in human history, surprise and superiority is how you win conflicts. And you know, that's just how it works in history. But that's a crazy video.
It's a crazy video. You're right. And I'm looking at this and I just haven't really analyzed it, but you're right. The whole front of that ship just pops up. It's insane to see. Safe to say that ship is no more. And yeah, this is not a glorification of war, but of course you got to cover these things. It's happening live in front of us. Similar news, the Pentagon confirms the U.S. military has sunken all 11 Iranian military ships in the Gulf of Oman. 2 days ago, the Iranian regime had 11 ships in the Gulf of Oman. Today, they have 0. I mean, dude.
I mean, surface vessel warfare is done. There's really no use case for ships like this. They don't add anything to any military advantage whatsoever, unless you have aircraft that are coming on and off them or using them as a drone launch platform. So even if you get to like, well, is the technology good? It's like in this conflict, the only difference that this makes is the shipbuilding capacity of something like China, which is like 450 times more, if you listen to Palmer Luckey, than that of the United States. That makes a big difference because you could send a swarm of merchant ships or something to kind of overwhelm a defense. But we've seen radar footage of Chinese merchant ships kind of like organizing themselves in certain formations in a highly coordinated fashion. So that to me is more the future of surface warfare. And of course, the drone ships being used in the Ukraine conflict. But yeah, crazy stuff that.
Yeah. And then I also saw the United States did a little side quest the other day, and I think they went and did something with the gangs. I'm not sure. Was it Ecuador? Was it in Ecuador or something like that? Did you catch that, Josh?
Not that specifically. I mean, but they're just dismantling the gangs. And well, that was in Mexico, I think. But there might have been something in
pretty
Ecuador
sure just the other day they did something in Ecuador to dismantle the gangs, like you said. And I'm not really sure the capacity there, but kind of felt like a side quest with everything that's going on. So that's crazy. But we can get off that for now.
A lot of side quests these days. Like I'm actually shocked. I mean, guys, look, I think the context here is we've had since the 90s. I was born in the 90s. You have like 30 years. So the first like 20 years of that was pretty peaceful in the world. Not a lot of conflicts. And then we're in an area of high uncertainty. Now, what does this mean for us as people who participate in markets, who are looking at markets? It's, you know, these conflicts, if you told me 20 years ago that a torpedoed Iranian ship by the US in the, Indian Ocean, I would say that would probably bring world markets down 7 to 8% overnight, and oil would spike. But in this day and age, we're just not seeing it's almost like these uncertainties that existed for 3 decades have now been removed. And they always were uncertainty overhangs. And look at Bitcoin. I mean, we saw information yesterday that as soon as the internet was flipped on in Iran, people in Iran were going out and buying Bitcoin as a store of value. And they weren't doing that with gold because you can't buy gold. I mean, in the country, you can't transport it. Like, you're going to show up to a gold shop. Like, you can't buy it from your couch in the safety of your home. So
it is crazy to see that Bitcoin became that outlet of actual flight to safety, like literally a flight.
This is real utility, flight to safety. And we saw this in Ukraine too. In the beginning of the 2022 conflict, people converted their assets to crypto in Ukraine, and they fled the country to seek shelter in Poland and other countries. And there was a cyber attack against the financial system. So the only thing that worked in Ukraine was crypto at that time. So we've seen examples of this where it's like conflict drives real world flight to safety. And I mean, the risk capital markets or the risk takers, or like the people might say, oh, it's a risk on asset, we're going to sell it. Well, people in the world are like, well, we're going to buy it because we need it to move assets. So
Yep, crazy. But yeah, this would be a very nice weekly close, erasing nearly almost 4 weeks of price action here. If we do close up in the 73 range. Chill mentioned something that I actually was just going to pivot into. First meme coin on Futardo hit over 10 million, by the way. Isn't this wild? HuroPay couldn't reach their raise of 3 million, but a meme coin hit 10 million. Now, hey, look, the people get to decide what they want to bid and whatnot, but this was crazy, man. I got it pulled up right here. Look at this. Futardo called 10.3 million raise with 50K goal. So I thought there was a cap on this, though. I thought there was. Didn't we discuss that yesterday? That there was the minimums and then the maximum caps because people wanted to know what.
10 million raised and it has a 90K FTV. What? All right. Like, dude, let's go to the website here. We have to break this down. This is a great clip.
Okay, yeah, let's break it down here. Not what I expected here. We go maneuver through profits to MetaDAO to MetaDAO.fi. Actually, it's going to be Futardo. It's not even going to be MetaDAO. So let me go. Oh, it's not even in the bio here. Jeez, they're making it difficult for us.
Futard.io if you just want to direct.
Yeah, right. Futardo. Here we go. All right.
Oh my gosh, the raid closes in 15 minutes. It's still ongoing.
Holy cow.
Dude, is this the whale games, but with a 90K FTV token?
Well, it's obviously not 90K. It's going to have to launch much higher, right? Unless they just have a treasury of $10 million. Here, let's see. The first Futarky governed meme coin will make tokens great again. So what happens here? Okay. 90K FTV. So let's say it does launch at 90K, and we'll see it live. We're going to definitely review this later. They just have a treasury with 10.6 mil. What happens? And the people vote to just chuck it in into the chart. Like, I don't get it. But let's see. About funds will be used for a variety of different things, including fan merch, token listings, private events / parties for Futards. Huh. Interesting, bro. Interesting. I mean, today was the right day to, I guess, have this raise. Any other day, I think it would have gone poorly. But that's really crazy to see, and I think everyone's surprised, including Profit here. He put out this tweet saying not what he expected, not what I expected either. But we're seeing this raise mechanism go well. Again, still interested in people tokenizing just like Banker does, just like Bag does, people going and raising for other participants and then having them sign over the rights to MetaDAO and taking the 100, 200K that was raised. Really interested in that. But again, we're seeing the early fledglings of people raising like a meme coin. Looks like Micro Realms is also gonna potentially, 5 minutes left. Was the minimum 200K? Okay, let me go back to the chart here. Go back to this. Did it not pass? Oh no, did the mushroom one not pass then? Must not have hit. Search here. Micro Realms. Here it is. Oh yeah, it's refunding, so it didn't hit. Okay, got 158K. See, like 158K for me, now I don't know their business model. I don't really know what they're doing, but like I would have probably made my minimum 100K, right? And things would be looking different right now. But
yeah, I mean, like how much money do you need for what are we doing here? Like for like what is this? To and build operating scale sustainable agri ecosystem. What is that? Farming?
Yeah.
Which is a local activity. So let's say you invest in a farm. I mean, like, I don't know. I did look into this one. I looked at the Twitter account where it was from, and I was like, I don't know.
Where was the Twitter account based out of?
It's not important, but like you can do your own due diligence. But it's just like, I don't know. You got to do DD on these teams. I think you don't want to be things that need to scale. I mean, look, if they become a successful farm, I guess interesting, right? But like, are they farmers, right? Can they get their produce to market? Do they have proper food handling standards? I don't know, what produce are they growing?
Well, Well, it'll be interesting to see this. In 12 minutes, we'll be able to see what the heck's happening with this token that's got nearly 11 million raised. And it's completely a meme coin. So, like, we'll see how this gets traded. My
And
opinion.
there's no like X account or anything tied to this. Yeah, we're
crazy.
in on it. Chill. Thank you though for sending us 10 minutes. I can't wait. Yeah, we'll flip to this for a clip.
That'll be interesting to see.
Initial float is 60 or 56%. There's a performance package of 28%, so 5 million tokens set aside. The LP will get 5%, and the Futarki AMM 11%. So a good amount of the token will be out of circulation. Okay, on-chain details. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to find out a bit more about who the deployer is. I just see a wallet address.
I don't think the deployer, like, probably an anonymous dude just who deployed. I don't think there's no benefit in being the deployer, right? The only benefit is the recipient of.
Well, yeah, I guess because the token holders could vote to refund it instantly if they see anything they don't like, kind of thing.
Right. Either way, I want to dive into this. It's a really interesting piece by Andrew Seb here, who has a hot take on the Futarki model, and that Futarki doesn't decide if a project should be liquidated. It decides if a token is trading below its treasury value. And he's got an interesting take that I kind of agree with here. We've seen recently projects, including Ranger, get liquidated because they're trading below net asset value, right? So if they have $1 million on the book, it trades at 70%. Well, there's a 30% arbitrage opportunity for what's called mercenary capital to come in and buy enough supply to raise a vote and determine the outcome of that market, right? And if they can do that, it's almost a guaranteed 30%. Of course, if they fail, then they're going to have to liquidate, but they maybe take a small loss in terms of spread, right? Having to sell back onto the open market. But then again, what happens? You take the hit for the spread, and someone else now gets a better arbitrage opportunity to either buy it up or raise a proposal, right? So this is the take that Andrew Seb makes. Let me see how long this is. Okay, it's not very long, so let's just read through it and get an idea for it, because I think it's super interesting. I want to hear your thoughts on this too. We've been seeing it in real time, right? I think Solomon Labs, which is one I've actually found very interesting, is maybe trading close to or below net asset value. That's what Prophet was even saying the other day. And so it has nothing to do with belief in the token holders. It has more so, is there mercenary capital out there that can spot an inefficiency in the market? Because ultimately that's what it is, right? Physical book value compared to a literal, dip on that book value in token price. Is there someone that's privy enough and keen enough to take advantage of that and exploit the system? You say exploit, but it's actually how the system is meant to work, I guess, in a way. So let's just read that. Hot take: Futarki doesn't decide if a project should be liquidated. It decides if a token is trading below its treasury value. Here's what's playing out with Ranger Finance right now, and why it exposes a structural flaw in the Futarki governance model when it comes to liquidation decisions. Ranger was trading at 48 cents when the liquidation proposal went live. The treasury plus LP holds 4.7 to 5.1 million in USDC. Only 5.8 to 6.4 million tokens are eligible for redemption. Again, it's FTV versus market cap. That puts book value per token at 75 to 82 cents. That's a 56 to 70% return if the proposal passes. It's free money. It's a risk-free arbitrage. It's not risk-free because the proposal could always fail. But why would it? Right? Why would it? If people could just buy up the tokens, input their votes, and now make an instant profit. As soon as someone makes this proposal and they see they can make money, people are going to pile into the bandwagon, raising token price because you have buyers that are just buying the token to then vote on the outcome. So you have two market participants kind of at work here in play. So what happens in the decision market? Traders pile into the pass side, and not because they've elevated Weather Rangers team missile investors, not because they've misaligned, not because they've assessed the project's long-term viability, but because there's a risk-free arbitrage sitting right there. The fail side needs someone to argue Ranger as a going concern is worth more than 75 to 82 cents, with activity down 90% post ICO and trust broken. Nobody is taking that bet. Yeah, I mean, the trade also here is like finding something that's got little chatter on the timeline, that maybe doesn't have a strong community anymore and can be easily swung, I think, right? If you tried to do this with Avicii, I think even below book value, it probably wouldn't work too well. Ranger spiked from 0.48 to 0.78 the moment the proposal dropped. That marked the marked price in the liquidation immediately. The decision was over before a single trade hit the conditional markets. This means any Futarki project trading below its treasury NAV is a sitting target. Doesn't matter if the team is building something real. Doesn't matter if the dip is temporary. The ARB guarantees the liquidation passes. I don't think it always guarantees in every case here, but high percentage of the time it does. Futarki works beautifully for operational decisions, but for liquidations, the financial incentives completely downs the informational signal. The market isn't deciding what's right. It's deciding what's profitable. I think that's always true. We even see that with Jane Street, right? Agree or disagree with how they trade the markets and their way of doing it. Anna laid it out perfectly. If there's an opportunity in the market, there's going to be capital that always takes advantage of it. And in this case, the Futarki method, call it mercenary capital or savvy investors, however you want to look at it. When there is a company trading below net asset value, it's going to be arbed up. It's going to be arbed up. Now, of course, if it gets arbed up instantly and starting to trade at fair value, there is a likelihood that the people say, no, we just want to continue with the project, and they vote against the liquidation. But again, when you have a 30, 40%, 50% instant upside on raising a proposal for a project that already has kind of bad, I feel like people looked at Ranger pretty poorly. They didn't really like it in terms of they thought it was sketchy. They thought the team was a bit shady or whatever. This is not my opinions. This is just how I'm seeing it. Especially if a proposal was raised against something like that, it is almost guaranteed it passes. So I don't know. It is a little broken, I guess, but
so scroll down to Chill's take, and I actually agree with Chill on this.
Chill's take. Fully disagree. Okay. Fully disagree. This is only possible because the team lied. If founders can, but no, we saw another example with Fairscale, right?
Yeah, so these are different cases in my opinion. Fairscale, I think the overall mechanism was allowing for this kind of arbitrage to happen, and so it did. And
also truth here.
Is it related to Fairscale being, a bad product? Not really. It's more probably the market conditions and it being sold off. The Ranger situation, I saw screenshots and I read through them on Telegram that they had the material claims that they had materially overstated their revenue seemed pretty real to me. Like they were betting on revenue that would come in post raise, basically post ICO, and including that in their revenue that they put on the MetaDAO raise. So I think that's totally valid. So it has nothing to do with the trade itself. It has to do with in my opinion, was there misrepresentations of the data pre-raise? And I do agree there was misrepresentations based on what I read in the screenshots I saw.
So you don't think anyone looked at this and said, okay, here's a free 50 to 60 to 70% gain?
Oh, they did.
If I pile in.
No, they did. But that is
misrepresentation or not.
Yeah. So absolutely, that
misrepresentation was like the domino that caused people to start piling in. But I think if the vote was raised, whether they were representing correctly or not, and there was an arbitrage opportunity, you still get the people piling in, because it's not the people that are already in the token that are now voting to uphold it. It's people seeing that there's an opportunity coming from outside, buying up and piling in on the side.
I understand that. So there's two things going on. There was material misrepresentation, which based on what I read, seemed like that was real. And then there's the trade opportunity. Now, Fairscale, it was kind of, it happened that way, right? But would that have the same thing happened here as just a given that it's Ranger Finance, or that it was trading at a discount? Like, would it, forget about the misrepresentation. Let's say they were crushing it. Let's say they were doing well, right? Would the token even be in a position to make this trade, right? So I don't know. These things may probably go in hand, but I know there was some, from what I read, it seemed like there was some misrepresentation.
100% there was misrepresentation.
You can't do that, right? Like as a, someone raising capital, can get you into trouble.
Yeah. Crypto Jones says if it fails, you get your money back, hence risk free. Nope, you do not get your money back. You get the tokens that you bought off the open market back. You still have to then go and sell those to get your money back. If you buy enough tokens up to make a meaningful shift and sway in the decision markets, you're going to get slipped in selling those tokens. The liquidity is not that thick. So no, it is not risk free. There's nothing risk free in this market. If it fails, yes, you get the 1-to-1 equivalent of your token back. But again, you have to still decide, you have to go and sell the tokens you just bought in that case, which you're going to get slipped on. And maybe the price is not going to be the same when you bought it, maybe lower. So, no. Okay. Also, this is live. 11.3 million raised for the first token. Game just put out a funny tweet on this, and here
1 minute left. Let's see it. Go Game.
I think it's live. But let's see.
Counting down. 1 minute left.
Here's Game's tweet. I think it's pretty funny because it does say a lot here. The top raise on MetaDAO's new open platform is a meme coin with profits PFP and a one-line description that they managed to make errors in. Perfect depiction of crypto cinema. That's funny. It is a perfect description of.
It's like absolutely perfect.
Yeah. Though this is also good publicity for the.
It is
the launch pad here.
You need one of these. You need one of these. All right.
Okay.
30 seconds. Does it automatically like migrate to?
I mean, right here it says token. So I would imagine this is what spawns here in a second.
All right, throw it in the thing and let's see if it.
You guys can trade it here with us on Trojan. Not sure if I would
recommend Trojan.com/MCG. Yeah, definitely don't recommend necessarily trading this, but
let's just watch for now. I'm not sure why it's taking so long to load here. If it's on my end, if it's the new. Okay, no data here. I guess it's not quite live, or maybe the CA is different. Back here. Okay, so this is ended. Implied
maybe they take a moment to like set up liquidity and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this works. I'm gonna again try to paste this contract in Trojan, see what's up. No volume yet. Okay, nothing here. Nothing here.
And guys, please support our work. Trojan.com/@MCG. Rumor is there'll be a Trojan airdrop at some point. And overall, we saw what happened with Axiom and all that nonsense. And Padre, a little bit of nonsense there too. And Trojan seems like they're good actors, so we're excited to work with them.
Sell-off incoming. Let's see. So I'm confused though. Is it launching at a 90K market cap and they have just a $11.4 million in a treasury, or is it launching at whatever this equivalent would be based on?
No, it's 100%. You get a percentage of the allocation based on the money you put in. It's the same mechanic, I'm assuming. It has to be.
But there was no cap on this, or was the cap 50K? Was it goal of 50, cap 50?
Dude, you know as much as I do, to be honest. These are the tension games that we like to see for I'm gonna go ahead and retweet. If you haven't gone and watched the stuff from MetaDAO yesterday, like
really interesting. All right, let's see the latest. What's Twitter saying? Just in crypto, you asked for 50K raise and ended up raising 8.5 million plus. At this point, it's 11.4. I think it's what it closed with. First successful Futario raise hit $6 million in commitments. Yeah, this is nuts. Avocado Toast said, you try to build something serious to overcome structural issues and permissionless crypto capital raises, and the market turns it into pump fun. It's wow. The maturity of this market is ridiculous. Where is I want to see this traded though. Here, the chat's going live. Okay, bunch of Russian guys in here.
What's the is it Futard is the ticker?
Futardio. Here, let me see if I can find it from the ticker.
Oh, Futardio.
No results. Okay. Must take a little while to load. Either way, we can see it, after Dax's segment. I can pull up Zira real quick if you want some context on that, and then we can run the Zira segment, or you want to just keep looking at this for a second?
Yeah, run Zira.
All right. Here is the chart for context on Zira. I'll push it on the 4-hour. Pretty much sideways here for the last 30 days. Bounced off a dip to 0.0015 all the way up to 0.0057. That was a great dip. Whoever was able to manage to catch that. So there's the chart for context. I know, Josh, you always like that. I will pull up their website and Twitter, and then we'll dive back into the MetaDAO platform after. But let me pull this up. Okay. Boom. Dax, how are you doing?
Good. Right when you said boom, the deployment hit, it fixed and reloaded, and we are completely live.
Let's go. Wait, deployment.
So do that again.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fill me in. What are we talking about? Deployment. Where are we?
So we're completely live, fully compliant with US law, and on mainnet. And we are completely working. We have private deposits, private withdrawals, and note splitting within the pool itself, completely working correctly. And to the best of our internal ability, audited and cleaned up for safety. There's definitely some changes to the circuits we can make to rule out some edge cases. And we want to move into kind of the third-party audits thing going forward. But the protocol is completely working, and I am happy to show it off.
Let's do it.
Congratulations. This is really exciting, Dax.
I appreciate it.
Can you tell us a bit about what this means before you show off the platform? What does this unlock?
So it unlocks kind of a base layer of privacy. One of the big things that we did as we were building out to get started was making sure that we built these in specific components, so that we would have an SDK and an API layer and a data layer for all these different pieces, which means that kind of as of now, we have, let me see here, open this side, we have kind of a set of TypeScript SDKs that already exist in our code base that we'll be going through and cleaning up and releasing, so that any developer can use these privacy primitives, regardless if they want to put them in a wallet or transact normally just here on our platform. We allow that, and we got the buybacks and burns hooked directly into our pool working. So this means that anyone in the AI space or the agentic space or doing trading bots can actually natively use this privacy layer out of the box by just adding a few extra lines of code to their code base. And so we're enabling privacy by default across all of Solana. And that's kind of the really exciting part of this. Now that we have it fully deployed and working on mainnet, I am happy to show off both the platform and a little bit of the backend that we've built for it as well.
All right,
so
I'll give you the stage here.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that we have here is the private notes. So if you want to deposit, spend, work on, let's see here, because this is always a throwaway wallet. Don't care about that. You can go ahead and sign
$10 billion. Oh my goodness.
I know, right? You have a private cache address. So other platforms also do have like that private address, but you don't necessarily need to use it if you don't want to. But we can scan for notes because it runs through the whole Merkle tree to look for if there's any money that's already been deposited. So even if you've never used the platform before, you can use it to send it to somebody's wallet or address that has never used the platform in their life, and it will get there safely, securely, and anonymously. So if we want to deposit, we'll start with 10 USD. Let's go ahead and Swap. 50% swap. Right now we're supporting USDC to start, and we're doing discrete amounts. The cool thing is this is a UI primitive that is enforced by our website explicitly, meaning that if you're a developer out there and you want to use any arbitrary value, you can submit that to the contract. We just recommend that for people who do like large data analysis, things like, what are they called? Chain analysis, TRM labs, Elliptic, because they work with the US government to try and track and do data analytics across all that stuff. So we try to make sure that your deposits look uniform and are the same as everyone else. Oh, why do I have an insufficient balance? Do I have an insufficient balance? Wait, I don't have an insufficient balance. Let's double check that. Deposit. Oh, which wallet am I on? Am I on the right one? I am. Unlock vegan key first. We always do that so that you have a fresh set of keys. And we want to deposit 10 USDC. It not only generates, we have to call them because this just got deployed. And it's also because we did a direct buyback and burn. So there are several different token accounts that it works through in order to do the buyback and burn directly with the smart contract that we've written. But as you can see, it takes a minute because it's actually in your browser in real time, generating all the zero knowledge proofs that you need. And so this is the offline note, same as the things we've previously demoed. You can go ahead and we can check out the transaction on SolScan, and you can actually see that we had a live burn go through as part of that transaction. There weren't multiple steps. It's all happening in one quick click. And now you have a full $10 note. I can split it. Again, I can split this $10 note into $7.50 if I wanted to and send it to somebody here to confirm the split. So I break it into smaller pieces, and we'll also be working on breaking it into bigger pieces as well, or putting pieces back together. So now we have $2.50 and $7.50, and we can download these, send them offline, write them to our custom offline tokens that we've already built. And so all of that is completely working, and we can decide if we want to withdraw. We can withdraw to ourselves. Let's do this demo for ourselves. Notice we have 33 USDC. Let's grab the $2.50 one. Right now, we're making sure that everybody has an understanding of what their privacy looks like. And if you do behaviors that are a little bit of an anti-pattern or that could...
Can you zoom that in a bit for us?
Yeah. Shift plus.
There we go. Okay.
In case, trivial linkable to on-chain reduces your privacy. So we always warn you, if you do something that's going to, decrease the amount of privacy that we've provided by default, we'll warn you. So same thing with this privacy notice. We want people to try and pull out default denominations, but because we only donated it, we deposited 10. There's really no $2.50 incoming value either. So there's no way to connect those two. So we want to confirm the withdrawal, and we're going to do proceed anyway, confirm.
So why you have the default amounts is because it makes it more difficult to track rather than some arbitrary number that, clearly shows up. Hey, I sent $2.61 and another wallet around there receives $2.61. You can probably tie them back.
Yeah, exactly. But by even just doing the splitting, it makes it harder, right? Because even if you do $6.21, like you said, but then you split it into $5 and you pay your friend $5 for, I don't know, the beer at the baseball game, there's no way to connect that $6.21 that was deposited and that $5. But if you're the only one that's less than $6.21 and you've sent out $5 and $1, and you're the only person who's ever used the entire platform for less than $6, then they might be linkable. But odds are everyone's going to send values in the $10, probably in the $1,000 range. Everyone's going to use that range. And so we're not really worried about that. It's more for big amounts. And we don't recommend...
a good analogy for this is if you have like a cash register in front of you and you're giving change out, and you have to give out $5.51. You might give out a couple, we call them toonies in Canada, but like a couple $1 bills, a couple, 8 quarters and, some dimes, et cetera, right?
Exactly. It's exactly like cash.
Yeah.
It's our offline cash mentality, brought to life kind of with the on-chain and how we split the notes, and we also want to put them together. So just how you can make a change for 100 out of 520s. If you want a $100 bill back out of 520s, that's going to be one of our updates, as well as down here. You're going to see in the next coming weeks a very cool new feature that is going to be embedded directly in the browser in real time, which means you can find anyone else who is on the site at the same time and essentially sponsor them to sign for the transaction on your behalf. Because you notice this is my public wallet, right? It goes into there, but that is the signer. And when I did the withdraw, the signer was also me. So that does leak a little bit of privacy. And so we're going to actually create in real time the ability to auction off so that people can actually make money in the community signing on behalf of other people. So if someone wants to set up a little bot to pay for those and you add a little bit of extra gas fee to your transaction for a withdrawal or a deposit, then somebody else can sign on your behalf, and it completely disconnects you from who even signed for the transaction, let alone who is involved in the transaction. And so we're trying to bridge that absolute privacy gap and allow for, especially working with like Tether and USDC with the new announcements from Solana, like the gasless stablecoin payments, being able to do it with no fee at all for stablecoins, as well as going forward support arbitrary or at least Zera token and a few other stablecoins to deposit into these shielded confidential pools.
Interesting. I really want to make this look practical, and I don't want to get into geopolitics too much, but let's just take the situation here in Iran. We see they're offline, right? A lot of these guys can't use the internet. So if they wanted to, protect the value of their money, maybe they're fleeing, maybe like whatever the case may be, could they use Zero for that? And how could they do the transfers online? Give me a practical example, because I think it kind of works for the situation.
Yeah. So a great one is, especially if they want to transact offline or what have you, is we want to be able to load these values onto the tokens that we've shown before. So as we release updates and we release either a mobile app or even a web app version that works specifically in the existing like Solflare or Phantom wallets, being able to generate that JSON, copy it down into your Notes app, and being able to send or text that or let a friend take a picture of that so that when they get internet again, they can go ahead and redeem that value for $2, $5. And that's kind of just a quick, if you needed to do it tomorrow, that's what you could do. But we want to be able to enable that directly with some clean UI and some clean app functionality or some clean web functionality. But it's like, if you needed to do that tomorrow or later today, and you lost internet right after watching this stream and you're in a conflict zone, you can take any one of these notes that you've already downloaded, and you can save them to your Notes app. You can text them to each other if you have a local mesh network, because I know when I was in Puerto Rico, because of the disaster relief, a lot of people have actually set up Meshtastic nodes. And so if you already have a resilient peer-to-peer network in your country or in where you're working and living, then this whole system can work automatically regardless of what peer-to-peer system you set up. Works over Tor, works over Meshtastic. All of that stuff already exists as kind of the primitives today. We're kind of giving you the Legos, the building blocks to play with its fundamental privacy tools. And we hope that we've created a UI language that really explains it well, so you get a feel that you're moving physical assets, not just these arbitrary numbers left and right.
The notes are pretty interesting. People always try to keep stash some money away for emergencies. Okay, maybe it's in your car, maybe it's in a cupboard, like whatever it might be. It would be really interesting to have, just rather than physical cash, have this stashed away somewhere to where if you ever needed something for an emergency, as soon as you got internet again, you could just copy over the note and redeem that money.
Well, remember, when you generate the note, it gets downloaded to your machine. So the moment you created this to be saved and stored, you have a local copy of it. So it's already been, when you put it away, it's been put away and you've got that note and that receipt. So it doesn't matter. It's already there. You're already offline. You can do whatever you want with it. And so it's already that store of value completely offline. And like I said, it stores and it stays in our pool, right? So the total amount in the pool is always kind of visible, but it's shielded. And so you won't know who did what to whom or where it is, but you know your money is always in there and always shielded, and you can pull it out back to yourself or pull it out and send it to somebody else by using that offline token, whether you want to hand that to somebody or come back when there's internet and do an actual withdrawal to their wallet address. And so we've really provided a whole kind of toolkit for building out privacy applications.
Okay, Crypto Jones has a question, but before that, so you spent a lot of time building this out. You're kind of like, you just deploy, you're there now. You know, what happens next in terms of adoption? How do you get people using this? Do you integrate this into, you know, Solflare wallet? Do you, like, what comes next in terms of adoption here?
Yeah, so what comes next is not only making it easier and better for users. Our first priority is cleaning up the hard edge cases here and doing a you know, site-wide UI refresh to make it usable, and focus on, in the short term, making sure that the website itself works well on mobile directly, so that it can load inside all of those existing browser wallets, inside your Solflare, inside your Phantom, inside your Backpack, automatically on your phone, on your mobile device, so that it's already working in there. And from there, also releasing the SDK primitives that we have, so that we're not the only ones building with this protocol, that any developer or third-party developer out there who wants to use a secure shielded pool or confidential transfer system like this, whether that is for agentic bots, whether that is for you know, anonymous donations and social good, or just building a trading or arbitrage platform, all of those can be done privately with our SDK, and you can go ahead and build that. So we want to enable third-party developers and everyone in the world to be able to build with the toolkit that we have here.
Sweet. Crypto Jones has an add-on to that. Now that you've had time to get this polished out and you got the product up and working, have you guys had time to refine your ownership model of the token? I guess this is a question directed towards the token.
So the token is meant to be kind of a store of value and a return on investment for everybody who has been working with us and just helping us and holders of the community. And so that's why we implemented at the contract level a buyback and burn metric, which is adjustable. Technically, the fee is totally adjustable. And so we want to be able to make sure that that burn fee is fair for the community, so that they get a return on their investment. In terms of like an ownership or refinement model, the cool thing is, because it's done at the contract level, it doesn't matter if a third party or other developer implements it. Every single holder of Zera benefits from every single use case, regardless if it's in our ecosystem or outside of our ecosystem. And so we've really strengthened with moving the burn mechanism directly into the contract and into the core use case and model of the entire platform, that anytime anyone wants to use any kind of true privacy with this system, users and holders of the token will benefit from it. And so that has kind of been our core model, at least internally. As a company, we're still structured as a research lab, because we're turning out research primitives for all these different use cases.
How do you guys, where do you guys cut into the profits here? Is it every transaction you take some basis points, or how does that work for you guys?
Nope. So really cool thing, and this lets me talk about all the cool things the lawyers talked about, because we spent a long time and a lot of money on lawyers. And the big thing that they kind of came back to us to was that there were three components of Tornado Cash and these other privacy protocols that really made governments angry. And that's that they took a lot of ownership over the component pieces. For example, the Relayer service, which is why we got rid of the Relayer service and we want to do direct peer-to-peer sponsorship with that peer-to-peer layer that we talked about earlier. And so by removing ourselves from that flow, by only putting out a smart contract, by using third-party primitives like Light Protocol, using their built-in Merkle tree contract, and using third-party components, we don't own or manually control much of it. It's very much the decentralized model of other people. We're using other people's open source and other component tools. And so we've put together a really, really powerful stack of tools to build out this protocol. And by doing that, we don't own any single part of it. And so we don't put ourselves in the flow of funds, which removes us from the liability of being a money transmitter or any of the things that they've hit Tornado Cash or shut down other privacy protocols with. We're able to sidestep that with regulation, but that also means that because of the way that we've sidestepped that, the only thing we're charging for is actually using the website. And you're allowed to charge access to the website, just like Twitter is allowed to charge access to their website, or Facebook. All of them are allowed to charge to use the website. So the only fee we have is in the deposit case. We take a 1 cent or a 1% service fee just on the deposit metric. And that is only built into the website. When you send this transaction, it goes through Cloudflare Worker, it rebuilds it, it sends it back, and then you sign that transaction and it goes to the blockchain, which means that when you use this protocol, it's actually technically free. If you want to write your own website and use this protocol, or you want to use a bot, like I said, and we released the developer SDK, all of that will be completely free to use, but the burn will still exist on the contract side. So we make money off obviously owning the pool and this 1% fee, but you can notice the fee is nothing. This is what we've made so far in fees, 61 cents.
And that's on $300 or $536. It looks like the deposit has gone up about $200 since we started this.
Oh wow, yeah. So yeah, that so we don't make very much in fees at all. This is very much a community focused project and meant to be shared with everybody who wants true privacy on chain.
Okay, we got an interesting question from Darth Info, and I think you just covered this a bit. How exactly is Zero compliant with the U.S. laws? I think you broke that down really well just now, unless you have anything else to add on that.
Just that those laws are definitely still evolving, and one of the big things that was an expense for us was when the Tornado Cash judgment came out, what the case law was, and the literal 2.5 months that we had our entire law firm just combing through that stack of legal decisions and what the judges said, is that this is the best advice and the best way we can protect ourselves and the protocol thus far, and that the law is always changing. And that's one of the reasons why you see me out there at conferences, at events, and yelling at officials here in Texas and politicians and meeting with them to make sure that we can continue to write the laws in a way that are favorable to our privacy.
Love it. Darth Info had another question regarding to privacy. Let's say you get a request, probably a demand from the FBI to reveal all wallets that transferred money to a certain wallet or person. Will you provide those details? 42 looks like he gave a response, but I'll let you respond as well.
That's not really possible. We physically don't track that. There's no way to track that. Like I said, we moved all these parts out of our control. We essentially have software that connects different pieces. We have software that talks to the Light protocol. We have software that talks to a smart contract. We have software that talks to a tree indexer. And that is really all we have. As a company, and what we've written passes information between each other. So it's a little bit like Signal. Like we shipped software to your phone, to your client, and your phone or the client or the website just did what it did. We don't have any server-side logs to physically give anyone. It's literally impossible because we don't collect that information. The most we do is, and I can show you here, is I want to say it's Sentry. The most we do is I want to say Sentry, which is this one. Single sign on. Let me unlock. 1 second.
It's a nice, nice background. Looks calm.
That's the new Mac one, and it drives me crazy because this actually moves.
What, the rocks?
Yeah, the water.
The water.
It was driving me crazy when it first came out because, yeah. So this is about the most we are able to collect, is that somebody randomly 20 minutes ago got an error on Chrome mobile, and that's because something timed out. And the error was there was something that didn't load correctly, it looks like. And because something didn't load, it fired off an error, and that's about all we can see. And then these expire because these are held by Sentry. So these expire in 30 days anyway. So we don't we don't keep any even debugging information longer than 30 days.
Nice. Okay.
Some
Another
of these-
question.
Some of these questions, I just want to say, Dax, you can look in the chat if you want to answer them or not. Like,
Yeah, I'm looking for I see the private chat. Where's the chat that we're looking at?
public chat will be top right in the comments. Like, we don't look, guys, we're asking questions here that are like, little,
Hey, ask the questions though. Sometimes.
you have the right to write it in, but we just want to, give the optionality to,
And Dax, real quick, last time we were on, we talked about your other kind of vertical that you were exploring with, transfer for medical documents. Any updates on that?
Just that kind of in my free time, pulling these primitives out and what we've already built. Like we have a working demo for that for any medical company that wants to see it. But otherwise, that has been very much Ian's department. And he's been running that, looking for funding. He has submitted us for a couple of hackathons and incubators. But other than that, that's just kind of the secondary backup not backup, but that is another application and use case for what we're building here on chain for everybody. And I think the really exciting thing is with the Service SDK and the ability to open source those pieces that we can work with the new like X402 protocol and all those agentic frameworks that are doing payments, right? So you've already seen AI agents doing payments with each other, but we want to add a privacy layer to that to be able for you to manage your bots privately. And so I think that's going to be a really, really exciting use case that we're going to see come out of Zera Labs for any of those people that follow or developers that want to build using our SDK. Please give us a call. Please give us an email. Because we'd love to show it off and work with you as you build out other privacy applications.
Dax, oh yeah, go ahead. Finish your thought, Dom.
That's actually really interesting. Have you played around with like a Mac Mini and Clawbot at all and had these AI agents do autonomous tasks?
Yeah, so I've played with Clawbot a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of the way it orchestrates stuff. I like we actually have, for a little bit, until the newer Claude models came out, actually, because of the way we were building this, all of the AI agents or coding tools out there were like, this is a private pool, and the US government has deemed this is not allowed. And so it wouldn't even help us write code for our project. So we either had to write code from scratch, or we had, for a while, Qwen, Qwen, Qwen ameliorated or obliterated running on a server to do some of our AI tools and code reviews, which was kind of funny. But I have been a big fan of Claude and Clawbot. I have been looking at a really, really, really interesting use case of using our zero-knowledge proofs and using Stripe and the bots to essentially be like, you don't even realize, I was working on a little bit of a demo kind of on the side where you don't even realize it, but when you pay in Stripe, it converts it to stablecoin for free because of the new Solana programs and partnerships they're doing with USDC and Tether, that it gaslessly and for free turns your Stripe checkout payment into USDC, which then funds a bot operation or an AI agent operation. And so I kind of scaffolded and sketched out a demo of that as well. I haven't really built, but I have totally thought about those use cases and integrations. And there's some really, really, really cool things that I think people are going to be out there building.
Yeah, it's super cool. I wonder if because I've seen a lot of traction that gets made for some of these protocols is these bots go on like Moltbook or the platforms that they can communicate on, and they start basically advertising their product. They're like, hey, I have this product. If you want to do peer-to-peer transfers, you can go do it here. And the other bots start pick up, and it kind of gains traction and gets the ball rolling. I wonder if they'd be interested in this, for example.
Oh, for sure. And that's part of the end goal. If because just it's anything. A human, a company, or a bot, anything that transacts on chain or off chain, conventionally it used to be humans and businesses. Those are the two things that moved money, right? But now we have AI agents that can automate that. And so by making sure that the surface area for how you use privacy is open to everybody, to companies, to people, and to agents, is the only way to continue to build in this kind of economy.
Absolutely. Josh, anything else you want to cover? Or Dax, anything else you want to highlight? real
Yeah,
quick?
there's some questions in here around like
Yeah.
use cases for this kind of stuff. And I think what people, they see kind of the I would say the bad side of what privacy has been in the news, but the reality is people are transacting all the time for like normal day-to-day stuff, running businesses, and they just want to be able to have privacy because they don't want people to look at what's in their bank account. Like if I go spend money on Visa, like Dom doesn't know about that, right? Like there's not this privacy is built into the existing financial system by design and by nature. And so it's like on chain, it's, you want to be able to transact, you want to be able to trade, you want to be able to do things and not have the world looking at your stuff.
Exactly. And it goes beyond that, right?
Like-
we talked about the medical application. Well, if you see that every month I go to CVS and I pay CVS $32.58, and then you cross-reference, oh, maybe that's for this med or this med. And then you can go, well, this person's crazy, or this person has diabetes or whatever. And that's tracking personal medical information just by leaking how much you're spending at CVS every month. And so privacy has a real effect on your ability to exist in the world as a fully formed person, not just the hypothetical, metaphysical philosophy portion of like you need privacy in order to be able to think and make informed decisions and make mistakes. You also need privacy just to operate normally in the world, because you don't know if there's people out there who want to do you harm, or who through their own ignorance or through mass data collection accidentally steamroll you, just like we've seen big tech companies and major industries have done for hundreds of years, from the steel industry and the trains rolling through towns all the way through, to mass surveillance today. Being able to have sovereignty and control over your money is really, really important. For example, in 2022, hackers breached Give, Send, Go, which was a directly giving fundraising platform. And so all those people who donated, like the Canadian Free Convoy with all the truckers, the government could then censor them. And they leaked, I think it was like 92,000 donors, names, emails, addresses, zip codes. So if you didn't agree with the protest, now all your information's out there and somebody could come hurt you. And so this allows us to really maintain a working democracy, a Western democracy, in that you need to be able to have a voice and not.
The irony about that situation was the truckers were right. That was the end of COVID and the lockdowns needed to end. And they did. Now, blaring the your horn in downtown Ottawa at 4 a.m. when you have kids trying to sleep in houses, yeah, that's probably a bit of a nuisance and shouldn't happen. But long story short is they were right at that point. So I live near Ottawa, so
yeah. And on top of that, right, if you're just staying in the crypto space, right, if your address is doxed, or the one that you use for like your main payouts or for converting for an on-ramp or off-ramp, anyone can send NFTs to that doxing material. Someone could make an NFT of all your personal information and connect it and send that to your wallet so anyone looks it up.
Yeah,
or even CSAM or threats. And so we need absolute privacy on chain. And even though in some cases that may sometimes enable not so nice actors to do things, it's more important that everybody be able to actually have a sense of safety and financial security when we transact and work with the blockchain, because that's where all money is going anyway.
I love it. Dax, anything else to add, or should we say congratulations on the launch? And what else have you got to end us with here?
Just that we're excited to keep building, and we're grateful for everybody here, and we're glad that we finally got the burns in the contract on chain directly. And please, everybody, give it a try. Let us know what the rough edges are, and we want the feedback. We're now in the feedback kind of product cycle of, all right, try it, tell us what you liked, didn't like, what made sense, what didn't make sense, so that we can do a better job building as we go forward.
Are you doing feedback in Telegram, or what's the best way to get you feedback?
Right here on the site, there's typically a feedback. Well, in the bottom corner, there's usually a feedback form. I think we're in a rush to launch it out, so I think we disabled that. But there will be a literal button in the corner that's a feedback form. You can click at any time, or even better, there's a whole tab in here for feedback.
It says feedback right
Beautiful.
there. Okay.
Yep. And so that is going to be the best way to get to us, because not only do we see it, but every engineering team, this goes into an email inbox that every engineer has access to. So we all see it at the same time. So we'll all be able to exactly see what's wrong and what's bothering everybody so that we can address it quickly.
Can I zoom out at just the overall privacy landscape? So we have, Zcash, there's Umbra, who's launching very soon through MetaDAO on Solana, their kind of mainnet. But who's leading? We saw Radar, which was one that kind of went under or didn't work out. But like, who's really doing this well, broadly, and then Solana specific? Who would you say is your competitors, quote unquote, for this?
I think it's actually, believe it or not, kind of the native things that people have been tweeting out. Mert, Tully, the native changes, because I don't know if anyone's been keeping up with. It had almost no views, but there was a Solana talk that just came out about from the Solana ecosystem or Solana channel, and they talked about how they're trying to, with the stable coins, they're trying to, payments on Solana. This video is good. There's only 600 views, but they're talking about integrating a lot of these, especially with the stable coins, these privacy options as defaults in the native primitives of Solana by default. And so honestly, to me, it's a little bit of like Signal and Apple, right? Right now, we're the Signal app providing safety and security. And if Apple or Solana decides that, iMessage in the default's just going to include this, we want to be able to make sure that we're here for a long time and providing that value and a privacy surface area for agentic communication, for interpersonal stuff, and for third parties to continue to build on. But the way that they're doing it is just a little bit different in terms of Umbra, which I believe is built on Arkham, which I really like what they did, and they have some really cool primitives. It's just been disappointing and frustrating for me to try to get access to the Arkham beta and to the Umbra beta and really see what they're doing or how they're working with it. It seems to be very tight-lipped and not much feedback or visibility into the development process or what they're building, which doesn't necessarily mean that there's nothing there. It's just they've been stuck on DevNet and been coming soon for a while, just like us. And I don't want to throw shade left, right, or center, because I know how hard and frustrating it is to kind of get to that point. In terms of kind of other competitors, I see Monero and Zcash, but they solve different problems because they're kind of cross-chain issues. And Zcash still isn't fully private, and the ones that are traded on Coinbase, even though they're on Coinbase and what have you, and those centralized exchanges, you have to use the unshielded version of those so that it's all trackable anyway. And so it kind of defeats the point of privacy if nothing's private by default. Anyway, in terms of the other competitors, confidential balances didn't do so well. The 2022 token standard just wasn't quite there yet. And so I'm just excited to see people be able to do more research and do better implementations of these kind of privacy protocols.
Somewhere around me, I have a Monero hat actually, which is funny. I don't know where it is. I'll try and see if I can find it.
I'm still a Monero maximalist. I still have Monero.
Is Fluffy Pony still in the game over at Monero? What ended up happening to him?
I disappeared off the face of the earth.
He was a main character for a while, and then he got himself into some trouble, I think, unrelated to the privacy stuff. But
I'm a big fan of that, and I still love Grin++. I'm old school privacy with that whole Mimblewimble fork and all the stuff that they did with that, which was cool. But the enabling of just zero knowledge proofs on chain has been really powerful, and so I'm grateful to both Mert and Tully and everyone at Solana who's built out a really, really cool smart contract system, a really cool runtime, and built it on top of Rust to start. So just the idea of Solana being here is the best place to start, and I'm glad that it exists. And honestly, I'm happy for that kind of competition because it means we all get to figure it out together, because it's a growing ecosystem. It's a new branch of math and science. It really is.
Yeah. The irony about privacy is we've been, I've been around since 2014, so we've been talking about privacy, I feel like in crypto for more than a decade. And I would say what percentage of the normal people out there are doing private transactions is probably single digit. I would say most people transact still on apps like FOMO and Trojan, these trading things, and Phantom. They're not using any privacy at all.
So real quick, actually, I did want to throw that out there. Did I put it on? I think I put it here. Just to show the power of privacy. In addition to that, I threw this up using
zero swap. Okay.
Yeah, using the same zero knowledge proof primitives. All of these are compressed tokens inside the Light protocol, so they're all anonymous. There's a bonding curve, just like any other launch platform. A simple swap. We have a very basic AAM pool, just like Meteora, and so you can make your own, and you can even unshield these and bring these out of private. But all of these are untrackable. They all go into, if you notice the admin, they all sit in the same pool, just like a shielded pool, like our other stuff. And everything that happens on chain stays inside the shielded pool, and so and gets recorded as like a leaf node in the Merkle tree, in the same way that everything else is. And so you could even go through. I think most of this stuff is open source or not open source, sorry, but open explainers. You can see exactly where the platform's metrics are, and you can read through the docs and exactly which fees do what. But I even, for shits and giggles, did a polymarket thing, and so you can create your own like little polymarket, true or false. And all of these are entirely private. Like you can see the metrics and, like, for example, the Launchpad and the holders breakdown, but any individual holder and with their wallet address is not viewable.
Dude. Okay, I didn't know you were working on this. This is
oh no, this was a Valentine's Day. I got laid and had a joint and was like, I'm gonna try something.
Valentine's Day is wild in the Dax household.
It really is. You have no idea, honey.
We don't want to know.
Yeah.
I'm
So
out.
yeah. And so yeah, give this a try as well. And so we even had someone graduated. And so this graduated from, oh wow, this one has gone way up. Okay, that's crazy. View charts, token analytics. So, because I know people were like complaining that, like, well, if everyone has privacy, how do you know that someone's not holding 51% of everything? So I threw together an analytics page, but you can see all the fee splits, how everything's set up, what the median position is. So you have that visibility into what's happening, but you don't know, you can't track any individual wallet.
Wild. And what's sorry, did you say the underlying AMM infra, is that Meteor related or is that something else?
It's a basic AAM smart contract based on the same stuff that Meteor did, but it's its own smart contract and it's its own pool.
Okay.
So the way it works is it all goes into a shielded pool, and what gets stored in the Merkle tree is essentially your encrypted positions through zero knowledge proofs. So the only thing you can really see is that every token that has ever been created for this entire platform, all of the SOL goes into one vault, but the actual values of each individual AAM position and each individual liquidity pool is stored inside the Merkle tree, and you go and fetch that information and it loads only on your client. And you use the zero knowledge proof from your wallet to recognize, okay, are you in ownership of this data? Can you actually decrypt and look at it? And when you look at it, it tells you, okay, here's your position. Here's how much you have. And here's the overall value when compared to the vault or the liquidity pool position. And so, yeah, anyone can create a token on here for fun, for shits and giggles. We have a very standard small bonding curve. It's set at 50 SOL. I can set it lower, but I figured if Pump Fund is doing 90 SOL, and the whole point of this, the other cool part of this is
everyone's
because
really poor these days, so yeah, 50 SOL is good.
Yeah, and the other cool thing that I love about this is because it's all doing like the compressed token, not the token 2022 standard, but using Light Protocol's compressed zero knowledge proof tokens. The gas fees for all of this and all this creation is 1/500th of the cost of normal gas fees. So if you look and you transact on this Launchpad, instead of it being 0.00001 SOL for gas fees, it's like 0.0000001 SOL for gas fees when doing anything on this platform. And sometimes there's no gas, depending on what you're doing. Like if you're just updating state or changing a position, then there isn't any gas fee at all.
What about Discovery here? This isn't integrated yet with like Dex Screener and the trading terminals, is it?
No,
How do-
and
how do
it's
people
not meant to be. It's meant to
discover-
be more of a. It's meant to be more of a demo of like what the technology can
Okay.
do. I'm trying to find. I thought I put more.
I did notice a
information in the doc.
DAX meme coin down there. I don't know if has that bonded yet.
That one has not. That one is not me. I think this is someone else who made it. The mint. This wallet minted it, or this wallet is the owner creator of it.
Yeah.
And that's about it. So there's lots of different people.
Cool.
I thought this was funny. Z Peppy. I thought that was funny. But all different people have made all different ones. And we did the really strong social stuff. So like you post on X, it builds out a full image and real-time stuff to tweet about it. So you can do the same social tools and share it and do all that stuff that
Cool.
you can on normal launch pads. But that's just a demo of the tech that you can use. And again, everything that's made here in the markets and the docs will connect back to the Zero token as well. And we want to use the funds from here to thicken the liquidity pool when we can.
There you go.
But it's just
All
a
right.
demo.
Just a demo. Well, it looks good. We appreciate you coming on. Lots of cool stuff that I think we're seeing for the first time here. So, as always, Dax, we appreciate you coming on and chatting.
Always
with us.
an honor, Dax.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right,
All right,
sick.
brother.
Congrats on the launch.
Peace.
All righty. There we go. Zero's always got some updates to be shared.
Cooking. I mean, caught me off guard there with the last minute. Hey, we have a launch pad / private prediction market. I mean, it's like, okay, let's talk about that. That's awesome. Yeah.
Seemed like a bit of a side thing, but pretty cool that he was able to whip that up. So, yeah. Do we want to cover some of the new updates with Meteor recently? I think that were pretty
Yes, let's do that.
pretty insane. I think this is going to be the thing that gets me into DLMMing.
DLMMing.
All right. Look at this. So this is a Soju tweet, but it's the quote tweet that's important. Dynamic terminals. We are doing some massive upgrades to make sure DLMMing on Meteor is as powerful as ever. There will be a learning curve, but I promise it'll be worth it. Let's LP. And tomorrow we're going to talk about this with the Meteor team. We got them coming on. But man, look at this. It's a full terminal to DLMM. Look, I'll play the video. I love that. I think this needed to happen for DLM. I mean, it felt too clunky and difficult and daunting to get ahead of earlier. I think you need the terminal. Let me see if I can use it. Here, let's check it out. What do you think, Josh?
I think it's great. Shout out to the team that put this together. I remember Starseed, I believe, was building something like this. And then I think on the last episode, he said that Meteor was cooking on something like this like 6 months ago. So I'm glad to see it finally come to fruition. Yes. Short answer is yes. I mean, people know how to trade because I think that's kind of intuitive, but liquidity provisioning is like, I don't know, people think it's difficult to do.
Okay, so let's see. We're here. Click on Lobstar. Got the chart. Let me see. I wonder if I can, if like the bin stuff starts showing up on the charts. That was one thing I really wanted to see is if you made like the U-shaped bin. I don't even know what the name of these things are. Like the bid ask, if it would show up on the chart. I think that would be pretty cool.
Okay, so what's the play here? So you're not buying but you are buying the tokens. Like you're buying half Lobstar, half Sol, and then putting it in and earning the fees.
Yeah,
from
if
trading,
you hold
plus
Lobstar,
you get some exposure.
Yeah, if you know, I guess there are single-sided liquidity pools as well, but in this case, it is Sol and Lobstar. And so I think what would happen here is if you have Lobstar and you want to, sell or collect fees in a certain range, you can provide liquidity, and then within that range, you'll be getting a piece of the dynamic fees every time there's trades happening, swapping using the pool that you've seeded, right? So that's kind of the play here. Also, just in terms of entering, you can enter and earn fees based on seeding liquidity pools. So like, let's say Lobstar dipped and you had a, range all the way down to 1919. You could hit off those ranges. So, yeah, right. There's spot, there's the curve, there's bid ask. I'm still not a professional, but I think like, in general, if you get a good understanding of it, having this to be able to see,
Oh, that's
all in one
nice.
place is
Wow.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
See the
cool.
curve. Yeah, I think this is really going to be beneficial practically for the people that already know how to LP. I think it just makes it really smooth and clean. People that are learning, you're still going to have to kind of learn, but I do think it makes it pretty easy. So I love this update. The terminal style it's really nice. It's really, really nice.
Dom, I'm gonna get you to just reset your camera. Looks like you're frozen. Oh, there it's back. Never mind. Maybe it was just me. Yeah,
I was,
this
like,
is really
red
great.
earlier, too. The camera was bugging out. Yeah, another tweet from Soju, which I think was interesting because this kind of touches on Bedrock Foundation as well. But we know Soju's taken over Meteora along with Sen about a year ago. But he had this to say: Meteora Labs is the highest impact for me in 2026. Tech alone is enough. We need to build on top of it, experiment, reinvent ourselves, push the boundaries of what crypto can actually do. We shipped the infrastructure, DLMM, DAM, DBC. Now comes the hard part, figuring out what crypto is actually for. Agents, autonomous actors that operate at scale. What happens when agents become the primary use of DeFi? How do we trade? What mechanisms work for them? So a lot of positioning talk there. Internet capital market. Token launches are chaos. Bedrock Foundation is building real ownership infrastructure for token launches. But Bedrock is just one experiment. We need many more like it. Real use cases, real problem solved. I'm really interested to talk more about Bedrock tomorrow with the team because I want to get a better understanding of what exactly it is they're offering. Like, can Bedrock be integrated into bags, right? If I'm on bags and there's a token that I really like, but it has no intrinsic equity anchor or whatever, can Bedrock step in and add some sort of equity aspect to it? And I would imagine like the Meteora token is going to probably use Bedrock Foundation as well for its equity if they ever do release an equity model, right?
Crypto Jones, we definitely have tried to get an LP trader on, but I totally agree. I think we need to get someone not building an LP platform, but actually trading these markets and understands them pretty thoroughly. We had
Starseed guys did break it down.
They did, and they did a good job of it, but it just like, I don't know, if you're looking to traders that have been trading all their life, looking at a chart, understanding limit orders, stop losses, order books, then AMM was a bit of a lift, but then different LP strategies was like a little bit more of a lift on top of that. It wasn't like, look at a chart, execute a trade. When you're LPing, there's different factors that change what your return profile is. Like if you had a token go up 2x and you put in $500, well, I'm going to make 2x on that money, right? With LPing, it's like, well, if it goes up 2x, like, I don't know how much money I'm going to make, right? So that's why I think it's a bit of a stretch for guys.
Yeah, you're right. There's a bit more nuance to it, which is also though like a reason to get into it. When it's difficult to get to something, typically that's where the edge in money is. And that's what I found. A lot of my biggest plays and best plays have been like spotting something early and like rotating to a chain before everyone's rotated, or testing out this protocol before everyone else has tested it out. And that is really where the money is made. But yeah, it's a good suggestion. Also, I thought this was really interesting. The Coin Bureau posted this today. Breaking: Kraken just became the first crypto firm to gain access to the Fed's core payment system that big banks use every day. This means Kraken can settle money transfer on all the same rails, settle money transfers on all the same rails as traditional banks. I mean, again, it just feels like the broader market's not picking up, but there's a lot of outside factors validating crypto, like a lot of government rulings, a lot of government conversations that are just favoring crypto. Things like this we would have never seen a couple of years ago. And like, if I saw this in 2020, man, it would have got me so excited, just to see, hey, there is mainstream adoption here. So I think this is really cool and something. Not really exactly sure what comes from this, but I do think the acknowledgement of Kraken and allowing them to settle money transfers on the same rails as traditional banks is like great steps in the right direction, especially if we can get more and they can do it do it better. So I thought that was super, super cool. Another interesting thing that I want your take on, Josh, or we'll pan to that. Before I cover that though, this is directly benefiting me in Florida here. But Florida became the first state to propose a law to eliminate capital gains tax on Bitcoin. This is huge. Now, again, this is just a proposal. Probably doesn't go through. But we've seen this. I think, even Trump in the past has hinted at removing capital gains on crypto. And people have said this in the past. Now, this is just for Bitcoin, not for crypto. And it's just a proposal. But I thought that was kind of interesting. Josh, do you remember hearing those rumors of capital gains tax on crypto not happening or potentially being waived for
Well, then Denmark or the Netherlands, someone pushed it through, but yeah, I mean, this is good stuff to see. Just attracts investment. Taxes are death, man. I'm like, I live in I live in the most tax jurisdiction in North America. Like Ontario is number one, I'm pretty sure. And it stifles the economy. Like you make over 100K in Ontario, you're paying almost 50% tax, right? Like it is out of this world. And I get
50K is not a lot to live off of either.
No, it's not. And I get we get like free healthcare and all this, but like at what point does it stifle the economy, right? If you tax half the economy, like no one has spending money. They can't spend in restaurants. They can't invest in things. So yeah, capital gains tax, get rid of it. We used to have a 66% tax rate on capital gains over 250K that the Trudeau government brought in. And again, it just crushed investment. So our pension fund in Canada doesn't even invest in Canada, invests in the United States because of the tax benefits of doing so. So it's just ridiculous. Like, stop taxing people.
Yeah, there's no state tax, Darth Infrel. No state tax. Florida is tax-free in that regard.
Yeah, well, you might see me in Florida in a year from now if MCG works out pretty well. I don't know.
There we go.
We'll
there
see.
we go. Also, I mean, I forget the exact country, but we saw someone making a push towards the opposite, taxing gains on taxing unrealized gains, which I've already expressed is literally the dumbest thing you could ever do.
I mean, this has been a discussion for the longest time with like Elon's net worth. It's like, okay, his net worth's 140 billion. You can't really tax most of that without selling stock. So it's like, and then selling stock holds all the other holders, which are pension funds and individual people. So it's like, I don't know.
And those specific situations, what they do is they have assets, they pool debt against those assets.
That's correct.
And they're untaxed on it, right? So,
and which that's what they should close the loophole around more, is taxing. If you use your stock as collateral to loan money, that should be taxed, right? I think that's because that's basically income. You could call that income for what it's worth.
Yeah, maybe I have to think about that specifically more, but
yeah, taxing unrealized capital gains is ridiculous. That hurts average people. Taxing people using debt when they use their stock for collateral, like high net worth things, like that doesn't hurt average people. So
yeah, again, the way I always put it, when you hear about taxing on unrealized gains, people always think stock market, okay, my crypto going up, I'm going to get taxed on it. What if it goes back down? But there's much more practical applications of this, like owning a house. If you have a house that is in somewhere that appreciates in value, well, you now have to pay capital gains taxes on the appreciation value of that house, even though you've seen no materialistic, benefit from it, right? So if a house goes up $100,000, you have to pay taxes on $100,000, even though you haven't sold that house, or maybe you're not renting that house out or cash flowing that house, right? And so like that's where it becomes dangerous to an economy.
We're not tax experts by stretch, but we like
Trying
to
to
give
be.
our opinion. Dom, I have to ask, while the Florida flag is up here, what's going on in the center there? Is she like putting like roses in the water and like Florida's the promised land?
Well, Florida is the promised land, but I'm not sure exactly what's it looks like. Yeah, some sort of. I've actually never really looked at this flag, to be honest.
Oh, come on.
Studied it. I know, dude. Is that bad? I don't
Looks
even know
like
if they had this in our schools.
Columbus ship is landing at the shores of Florida, and it's just like absolutely the promised land.
Yeah, I mean, come to Florida, boys. Come to Florida, Habibi. No, okay, this was pretty cool too. Crossman's had a huge moment for stablecoins. Crossman is partnering with Western Union to help bring their USDPT stablecoin on Solana to millions of users. Together, we'll help connect stablecoin payments to tens of thousands of Western Unions on and off ramps worldwide. That's pretty cool. Western Union accesses stablecoins on and off ramps. I think that's really cool. The question is, though, we're going to have a million different stable coins with a million different brands. I just want to be able to send my boy stable coins to his wallet without having to, try to get the right stable coin on the right network. And I know we're kind of fixing for the interoperability now. Of course, you have to send it on the right network. But, like, if my boy wants US dollars, he doesn't care if it's coming USDT, USDP, whatever. As long as he can withdraw it, it's one-to-one, it's stable. How do you feel, Josh, about all these different stable coins coming out? Do you think we should have a million billion different stable coins? Do you think it should be limited to a few?
Yeah, I've talked about it a few times on the show. I love the white label stablecoin that Coinbase is rolling out. I think it's a brilliant idea to allow developers to create a product, have a stable coin, and then use the deposits that they generate specifically, turn the treasury yield on it as income. I think that's just a great idea.
For sure. No, I agree. That's interesting.
Is Futardio live, my guy?
I'm not sure. It clearly didn't go live as soon as it launched. So
I know Ave was asking. Let's all right, guys, hit us with a few charts. We're gonna shut her down soon here because my voice is getting sore. And we've been streaming for 3. But yeah, shout out 2,500 views on the stream across all channels. Like we're up there. TBPN, not to compare ourselves, but I always do. They've been streaming for over an hour and they got 2,600. So we're in the motion here.
We're in the hunt, bro. But who gives a fuck about TBPN? Fuck them. All right.
I actually love TBPN.
No, they are actually really, really good. They're actually, there are a lot of shows that are really, really good that I guess you could. TBPN's not really competitor. They're more tech, we're more crypto, but
yeah,
lots of really good shows out there. Futardio, I see it trading. Oh, okay. It looks like it just launched. Let me put on the 5-second here. Or the 1 second.
I love a good 5-second chart.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the right. No, this one's only got 1.7K volume. Let me search up Futardio again. Maybe there's a better pool. This one's 5 months old. This one's 8 days old. This one's 1 day old. Let me know if you can find the contract address, Josh. I'm having trouble with this.
Yeah, I mean, feedback here is you need to have more specific information around the graduation process. This is just ripe for fraud and abuse from the standpoint of people could just spit up, Futardio tickers out there and try and vamp people. So please, Profit, if you're watching, definitely on the grad. Oh, just definitely want to upgrade on that.
Again, this pool I'm looking at here only has 17K in liquidity. So like it's hard to look at this. I can put on the 1 second chart, but each one of these is a trade. So I can do 1 second, I can do 1 minute. We're going to see the same amount of candles are relatively close because it just doesn't have a lot of volume flowing through it right now. But I would imagine.
And what's the CA? Can we match it by any chance? So let's see.
Here, let me search it on Twitter. Let me search it on Twitter, see if there's better results now. Futardio. I'll share you this tab so you guys can see the process here.
We do have a token address. You want me to send it to you? Here's the CA.
From what I have. Yep, 350K. Okay, this is let me see if your CA is different.
That's from Basement.
It just hasn't been seeded. Yeah, so it's the exact same one I have on. Liquidity, it just doesn't have any liquidity. So see, what's happened now is someone who has the tokens, who participated in the raise, I guess has gotten the pro rata distro. And what they've done is they've gone and seeded a pool themselves. This is how I'm understanding it. They've seeded a pool themselves. And so this entire 15K is held by is one person's pool, I believe. It hasn't been seeded from the actual contract yet, I don't think. So I'm not sure when it'll get seeded or how that works, but that's why this volatility is insane. But yeah, you can see it is at 340K, although good luck putting any sort of size in there because it's got 18K liquidity and only 3.17K volume. So we'll see. We'll be on here for the next five or so minutes, and we'll see what it does since for that time. But for now, not much to see. I guess I can just talk about the last two things I really had, but nothing too crazy. Anthropic is annihilating their competition. I'm not sure if you guys have been seeing this OpenAI Anthropic lore here, but I'll give you the history. U.S. government is talking with Anthropic. We want to use your stuff. We want to make a deal with you. Anthropic's like, sorry, no way. We're not going to give you access to surveil all of our data. And there was some other stuff in there. So Anthropic's like, US, we're not making a deal. Few days later, Sam Altman sells out. OpenAI's got to deal with the United States. So everyone's like, okay, deleting ChatGPT and downloading Claude. And we saw this. We saw the flippening. We saw the flippening on the App Store where Claude is now number 1. ChatGPT is now number 2 for the first time. ChatGPT has held that spot for a while. So we saw the flippening. Sam Altman sold out. And now Claude's on top. I believe Anthropic also recently raised another round or something. Could be wrong though. But here, oh no, look at this. 20 billion revenue run rate, up from 14 billion literally weeks ago. 6 billion jump in revenue. In revenue, I would guess this is annualized as of a couple weeks ago. The Claude app downloads 4x in 10 days. ChatGPT unsubs up 300%. So 300% up on their unsubscriptions for ChatGPT, and the 4x in downloads for Claude. Number 1 on both iOS App Store and Android Play Store. It's overtaken OpenAI for enterprise subscriptions. Absolute total dominance. You can see this chart here posted by DP here. 20 billion revenue run rate. Takeaways: Anthropic PBC is on track to generate annual revenue of almost 20 billion, more than doubling its run rate from last year. You can see the downloads are just surging here, over about 800, 900K. Number 1 on the App Store trends. Look at the flippening there. On Google Trends, I would imagine blue is OpenAI, red being Anthropic. 50% of enterprise AI subscriptions. Anthropic now has 50% of or leads in this regard. So pretty crazy to see, man. The flippening in real time, the fall of ChatGPT, the rise of Anthropic. I don't know if you know the details, Josh, but the way I understand it is the details of this situation was the United States wanted. Oh, and then also comes out later that the United States used Anthropic or Claude in the attacks on Iran. So United States said, okay, fine. Or Anthropic said, we're not going to work with you. We don't want your deal. We don't want to let you guys surveil all of our stuff. Pentagon comes out. I think Pete Hegseth, all these people say, okay, fine. Forget Anthropic. Forget Claude. They suck. We're not going to use them. A few days later, it's confirmed they've used Anthropic and Claude in their attacks on Iran. What capacity? I have no idea. Was it to write up a slideshow briefing the president on, what exactly went down? Was it in actual military operations? I have no idea. But that's aura. That's aura right there for Anthropic. I'm not going to lie. So pretty crazy stuff there. Claude is just dominating on all fronts. We are seeing the takeover in real time. but I thought that was pretty cool. So I think the situation is, and I'll let you jump in, Josh, if you have anything to say. I think the situation is the government wanted to be able to monitor stuff that was being said to the Anthropic LLMs. And I could be getting this wrong. And Anthropic was like, no, that's not happening. Along with something else. There was another thing as well. And you have to ask yourself, guys. Now we know the government has access to tapping into your phones. They can look through your camera and access it if they wanted to. They can see everything on your devices. You know, your privacy is probably a lot less private than you think it is today. And honestly, I think people choose to be ignorant about the amount of privacy that they think they have. You really don't have much privacy. But at what point do you get into a police state, right? If the government can see everything you're texting to an LLM, right? If they have, you know, access to be able to get into your phone, get into your camera, any moment they wanted to, and maybe they tell you they choose not to because they want to, you know, preserve your privacy or whatever. But like, I don't like the idea of the government having access to everything I say to an LLM. Now, I'm not saying anything compromising to an LLM, but like, it's just a step that I don't want them to take. I don't think they have the right to take that step.
I'll provide a little contrary opinion on this. There was a very unfortunate shooting in Canada that happened, and it came out to be that the shooter had used OpenAI to actually prompt and ask about, you know, how to conduct said shooting. And apparently the OpenAI security team had known about it, but didn't notify Canadian authorities. And unfortunately, 13 young children lost their lives. And it's actually this was like 3 weeks ago. It was the most significant mass shooting in Canada since the 80s. Very wild event. My opinion is that if you're in control of information that can stop some sort of harm done to someone else, you have a duty to do that. Whether it's social media, we see on Snapchat, you know, people flash weapons and then they are stopped, or it's these prompts. I don't see that as any different. So my personal opinion is, and I'm all for personal liberty and freedom, but if it comes at the detriment of someone else's freedom and liberty and right to life, I kind of draw the line there. And I think they have a obligation. Now, I don't really know if that's what this was specifically about. You know, surveillance is a very broad category. I also think that back in the day, we used to look at the Chinese kind of credit score system and think, wow, that's crazy. Like we don't want any of that. We don't want facial recognition, all this kind of stuff. And I think to a degree that's accurate. However, in this day and age, you know, what is security worth, right? When you're in public, do you want someone who's a threat walking down the street with you, or would you like someone to flag that? And we know that police cars now, like they drive down the street and they're auto grabbing license plate numbers and then using that to, you know, find people who have outstanding warrants. So I don't know. I think this is kind of like one of those situations where the Overton window moves a little bit and people get more comfortable with this type of technology. So I'm not pro surveillance, but I'm pro public safety and people's personal liberty of victims. And so it's a balancing act. That's all.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I guess for that you would need some sort of like certain phrases or words that are not allowed. And it's explicitly stated, maybe. Yeah, you know, how do you keep it from becoming like the UK, where you can't even say anything without getting your door kicked down by police and getting arrested, right? So there is a line, and I think, of course, there is like probably a happy medium, like there is to most things, where if someone can be protected or if you can step in and do something, I guess like you should. And how do you balance that? But how do you balance that from becoming controlled to where, okay, no matter what anyone says in the comfort of their home or not, can be used against them.
The UK is a little wild, I'm not gonna lie. I see those videos.
Very wild.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
This is a good comment. Yeah, I mean, like go look at Palmer Luckey clips when he talks about contract manufacturing overseas in China and how they try and put, you know, not necessarily listening devices, but data collection in certain areas. Those are real clips, by the way. And you know, corporate espionage is definitely a thing, but let's
I got one more thing to cover and then I'm good, Josh. if you're ready.
Yeah,
To wrap.
one more thing, but this hold on, I want to go see, is that Futario thing trading again? Yeah, can we just look at this? This is the real,
got more
this is
liquidity.
definitely the real token. I mean, I grabbed the CA and it's definitely trading. But it's trading at like what, 300K? Was it 200K?
Yeah, 368. Sorry. 368. I think it's got 20K in liquidity now, which we can see here on Trojan Terminal. And 18.7K in volume. Again, still really low, but 6.46 SOL fees paid. So like these liquidity providers are kind of printing.
Yeah. Where's our DLMing, bro? What
This
are
is
we
where
doing?
so you have the Trojan Terminal over here. Then you have the new Meteor DLM pool over here, and you start providing liquidity to stuff like this. No, it's not worse than I think. It's exactly what I think. Foreign intelligence agencies have access to the same access. Yeah, I was watching the CIA spy. You know, the viral CIA spy guy the other day kind of talk about some of this stuff.
Oh, he's great. I like hearing his stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a million stories. I don't know if they're all real, but it is crazy.
Yeah. I don't want to look. I'm not going to pontificate on price for Futario, but 400K, given the attention this is getting, seems cheap for what it's worth.
Yeah. Again,
In
like there's
my
just no
opinion.
liquidity. I don't even know how you really trade this. If I put in a buy here, my shit would spike it. Right. But yeah, it's got a ton of attention. I just saw Profit posted. He's got like 90 plus pings from just people tagging him on Twitter. Okay. Either way, did you see this? Okay, and I thought this was crazy. So, and I'll read all about this, but it's really interesting. Donald Trump put out this tweet. Effective immediately, I have ordered the United States Development Finance Corporation, the DFC, to provide at a very reasonable price political risk insurance and guarantees for the financial security of all maritime trade, especially energy traveling through the Gulf. This will be available to all shipping lines. If necessary, the United States Navy will begin escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz as soon as possible. No matter what, the United States will ensure the free flow of energy to the world. The United States' economic and military might is the greatest on earth. More action to come. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And this comes after there was insurance companies, which I believe are funded by the United States or the UK government, right? The UK government has insurance policies that cover most of the boats that are going through the Strait of Hormuz. So this is how I understand it. And what happened is they have these war policies for tankers. And I don't know how they can legally do this, but all of a sudden we get into war and they start pulling they start pulling the insurance, saying, okay, guys, we're canceling the war insurance, which is like, if I've been paying insurance all these months, all these years for a situation like this, like war, and my insurance company pulls it as soon as that happens, dude, I would be so angry. I'd be so angry. They'd obviously be getting sued. But nonetheless, that was kind of the lore there. And so here's
but ship insurance works different. It's not like your car we're insuring against liability. It's like a permit to actually move goods and services. Like the Turks do this with the in Istanbul there, the Caspian, I don't know, I forget the choke point, but they'll revoke passes for like Russian crude tankers that are going through the Black Sea. So this is a very normal thing, to be honest with you. And yeah, what insurance company is going to be like, yeah, there's a 90% chance you're going to get hit by something. We're just going to allow you to go through and just take the financial L. So they,
I mean, well, that's what you pay for the insurance for then. That's like, why would I even pay?
But the TLDR here is just limiting the impacts of what they're doing right now as what they're trying to do.
I'll read the implications. This is a ballsy power play by Trump. Lloyd is one of London's, was the gold standard for maritime insurance policies until just a day or two ago when they started canceling policies or jacking them up 3 to 5x. Other insurers followed. That collapsed the commercial shipping traffic through Hormuz, which cooked oil shipments out of the Middle East. Trump doing this means the DFC has the chance to displace Lloyd as the big dog in the game when they have been lock-in players for many years. It also frees up all the oil that was getting trapped there, heading off shortages and keeping the energy market alive. And why not? It's the American Navy that sunk the Iranian ships that were harassing tankers, and American Navy, at least for now, will keep those tankers safe. It's a huge reassurance to allies, blah, blah, blah. So insurance, I don't know if I feel great about the United States Navy getting involved in like insuring these passes through the strait, but it is an interesting development. So I just thought about covering that. Otherwise, unless you guys have a ticker you want to run through real quick, I think we're pretty much good on that.
Yeah, guys, I think great show today. We'll wrap her there. Oh, Dax, do you have anything else to add to that? That's a low-key funny comment.
If Dax wants to make his comment on
Dax,
this,
you wanna set us straight here? Like, we don't know anything, so appreciate.
Dax says he was in the Navy, so he can maybe add some credence or discredit anything we just said, if he wants to, of course.
Yeah, I know zero about maritime law, so for what it's worth.
As do I, but.
Oh, interesting. We have a big stick. Yeah. Well, the stick is sticking these days.
Very big. Stick is very big.
Sticking for what it's worth.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we can call it at that then. As for now, I'll finish with this tab. We got the Futardio token trading, low liquidity, but we'll see what it's doing tomorrow, I guess.
I kind of like that it's like stealth launched, it's not this huge like see it, Dax. It's not this huge like first 5 candles only up, bundled up, sniped up, and then it's kind of I don't even know if it.
I'm not sure if that's how I would put it.
Well, I mean stealth launch for perspective that there's a million pump pools. Like when I go search the token, there's literally like a dozen pump liquidity pools, but it's kind of stealth a little bit, that it's off the radar of all the bundlers and snipers, and maybe they chose.
I would say it's not stealth at all. It's the most tweeted about token right now.
Well,
but
it's
just
token is hyped, but as turn as the on-chain market activity, it's not like there's a bunch of guys that are slamming multi-wallet buys into it in the first few candles like we see on pump after graduation. Go watch a pump fund graduation, right? This is totally different.
I mean, yeah, but as soon as this gets seeded with liquidity, you're going to have that.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, it's fascinating. We like to spectate here. So,
all right, y'all boys. Till next time. Markets are good, man. Bitcoin is looking fantastic. Oh my gosh, it feels like we're back. We're so back, boys. Hopefully, we can get this for a little while longer. Now, the question is, when do we see this result in our altcoins running and our on-chain assets? I think it's going to take a little while for this to instill confidence in people. So I think we need, just like back in, man, it was a long time ago at this point, but just like back in here, like we talked about the conflict, it took, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, even longer than that, I would say, all this time, nearly 70 days before altcoins started picking up on this Bitcoin price action. I think we're convinced that was going higher. If this is the bottom of a bear market like this was, and of course cycles are being sped up a little bit, it's going to take some time for people to gain confidence again. So I do think we need to see some consecutive green days, or at least some days where the market holds up strong before we get people tailing into other assets. So on that note, boys, we love you. MCG's going hard. Appreciate you guys sticking with us. Shout out to our sponsors. Shout out Meteora. Shout out Trojan. Come
here, guys. Really, really helps us out. Trade with us on Trojan. Try it out. Trojan.com/@MCG. And go try it out. If you're gonna trade anywhere, don't do it on Axiom. Go do it on try Trojan out. But again, not financial advice. Go make your own decisions. And if you're going to trade, do support us, please. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. See you guys.
Peace, boys.